Welcome back to another stream. Welcome back, YouTube family. We're also live here on kick.com/Euro and travel. So definitely go check that out. This is my first time doing like a multi-stream where I'm streaming on two different platforms at once. Like I said, we're on Kick now, and Kick is also, does a lot better partnerships and stuff like that, so we can grow over there on Kick. If you're coming from Kick, thank you for joining in. Today, this is kind of a political channel, but we also do different kind of live streams and stuff like that, and travel videos and travel vlogs and travel streams and different content like that. If you're coming from YouTube to my Kick stream, I really would appreciate it. So we're trying to try out Kick right now. I'm not sure if we're gonna use Kick. We're gonna see how it goes with that. But I know I did another stream earlier today. It's Friday, so I just want to say happy Friday to everybody and welcome back to the live stream. I hope everyone's having a good week. Hope their weekend's good. I probably won't be streaming on Sunday, of course, because it's Easter Sunday. But yeah, we're going to be streaming for a little bit, so let's see how this goes in all. But I am very interested to see how Kick is and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say to start this off. Let's see if some people join in a second. We're just getting started with this live stream. I will be mostly reading YouTube chats, but I will be keeping an eye on the Kick chats as well. But yeah, we're live on kick.com/Euro and travel. So check out kick.com as well, because that's a better route to get paid from the live streams, and it'll really help me support me more than the YouTube views do. So if you're new here, go to kick.com, sign up if you don't have an account already, and check out Euros and travel over there. We're chatting about the same thing we've been chatting about. I mean, the Democrats are, going crazy right now about going to El Salvador. They're all going there right now. The president of El Salvador is laughing at the Democrats going to freaking El Salvador. I mean, of course now they go there when it's one of the safest places in the world right now to visit. But before that, they would be too scared of the gang activity and stuff like that. I mean, I don't see them going to Mexico for the Mexican people that are gang members getting deported. What playground are you in today? None. No inappropriate comments or you will be banned from the comments section. Do I look like Joe Biden or Hunter Biden to you? Go click on my Kick profile though. It's linked in my YouTube description. And also, kick.com/Euro and travel. Check that out. Subscribe there. We're mostly going to be going live there, but we're going to continue to build the YouTube audience and the YouTube streams. We got a beautiful background here, nice sunny day. It's been a great day so far. I appreciate you guys joining in. Okay. Your question was meaning what playground? Your question was about the playground or whatever. You're just referring to where in Europe I'm at. I'm in Montenegro. Tavat, Montenegro. Hey, Maria. I want everyone, including Maria, everyone else, go to my kick.com/Euro and travel. I'm mostly going to be going live on Kick. So please, guys, get some of my subscription up. I'm starting at 0 right now. I know we almost got 3,200 people here now, and we had a really successful stream earlier today. Almost 400 live viewers and about I think 15,000 viewers in total, so I really appreciate it. But kick.com/Euro and travel, guys. That's going to support me a lot more than you subscribing here, but both help a lot. I really appreciate it. Let me see if I got any comments or anything from kick.com, because this is my first ever stream on there. But shout out if you're watching me on Kick. Also, of course, shout out the YouTube family, but nothing inappropriate, but check out my kick.com. Kick.com, guys. Here, let me show you. Let me pull up Kick on here so everyone can get an idea what it looks like. It's a huge streaming site. Huge streaming site, Kick.com. So Euro and travel on Kick.com, of course. If you're new here, I really appreciate it. The president of El Salvador is laughing at the Democrats trying to get back trying to get back that immigrant guy from MS-13, the gang member. Okay, we got one viewer on Kick. My first Kick viewer, guys. Much appreciated, much appreciated. I'm live on YouTube as well, same name. But yeah, shout out my first viewer on Kick. Really appreciate you. Hope you subscribe, man. Hope you subscribe. I'm just trying to figure out how to use this front camera. Okay, there we go. I'm using this multi-streaming app. I'm not using on the actual YouTube app anymore. But basically, all the Democrats are crying right now, trying to get the MS-13 gang member. A lot of people will say, oh, he's not an MS-13 gang member. Even if he's not an MS-13 gang member, his wife accused him of beating her. And also, he came in the country illegally. He got arrested with drugs and other MS-13 gang members. He received 2 deportation orders. 2 deportation orders, which is insane. And he just ignored them. And I understand he was given a right to stay or whatever you want to call it, but he violated the terms of that as well by being in a terrorist organization and also getting arrested, not showing up for his traffic tickets and all that stuff. But that's a whole nother story. But basically, the Democrats are all flying out to El Salvador. They're all getting denied by the president. The president is there just sitting back and laughing at these American politicians that think they can come to his country and tell them to do what they want them to do with their citizen. It's an El Salvadorian citizen. Now, I can understand feeling bad for some of the immigrants and stuff like that, but not a gang member, not a criminal. That's not right. You know, he is a gang member. He is an MS-13 gang member. If you know anything about MS-13 members are only allowed to hang out with other MS-13 members. They don't hang around civilians. So the fact that he was arrested with other MS-13 members is pretty much proof enough on its own. But there's also been intelligence from the American Intelligence Agency, the El Salvadorian Intelligence Agency, that he is an MS-13 gang member. There's been multiple cases of proof of this. But all the Democrats want to cry and complain and say, no, he wasn't a gang member. He wasn't an MS-13 gang member. Okay, I get that. I get you guys saying that and stuff like that. But at the same time, can we acknowledge the fact that, he did other crimes and stuff like that? I bet there's military action for undermining the commander-in-chief. Hopefully. Shout out to North Korea. Not really, but if you're watching from North Korea, I guess. But, no one's watching from North Korea. But if you're new to the stream here, if you're new to the Euro and Travel channel, we do political live streams, travel vlogs, different stuff like that, travel live streams. If you're watching from Kick, I would love if you're my first subscriber. Drop me some comments. Let me know where you guys are coming from, inside the United States, outside the United States. I'm watching both chats right now, both on YouTube and both on Kick.com. Have you heard much about the gay hairdresser that deported, again illegal here, and was told to self-deport? You can call me ignorant if you want, man. I'm just stating facts right now. If you actually want to leave a real criticism about the whole immigrant situation of the illegal, you're welcome to do that. But if you're just going to call me names, then I don't think you're adding much to the conversation. Here we go again. It's always the liberals and the radical leftists and people like this that attack me. You're defending a human trafficker. You're defending MS-13. You're defending a wife beater. You're defending all these kinds of different people. Now, that is not right to defend criminality, but Democrats love to do it. And these crimes aren't financial crimes. These aren't crimes to do. These are just horrendous crimes. These are very, very bad crimes. And you always, especially if you're an immigrant coming into the country, I've immigrated into 2 countries so far, and both times I've done it legally. Now, I recently had a comment on one of my things. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard about that specific situation, DD. I've mostly been hearing about this MS-13 gang member. I haven't heard much about the gay hairdresser that self-deport or was told to self-deport or whatever. No, I haven't heard too much about him. The main thing I'm focusing on is the criminals and the criminality, but I hope people from Kick subscribe because, this is my first time going live here. I do these live streams and political talks all the time. And we need Donald Trump as supreme dictator. Trump 2028. No, I'm just kidding. Not supreme dictator. I don't really want Trump for 2028. I think J.D. Vance would be good, but if he could be vice president, maybe not a bad idea. But if you don't like Trump, if you hate the guy, I love to hear from you guys. Just drop me a comment, especially if you're on kick.com. We had 4 viewers, but the viewers are starting to drop. We're at 2 viewers now. On YouTube, we're at 6. Let's get these viewers going up. Good morning. Have a wonderful day, y'all. Where I'm at, it's already 5 p.m., but I appreciate you. David, I'm not your father, man, but funny joke. Agree. I haven't heard anything about that subject or anything like that. But the Democrats are crying. Would you guys like to see a clip about the El Salvadorian president laughing? At the Democrats? That is. Laughing at the Democrats it is. We got 2 viewers on kick.com. Honestly, not doing too bad. I guess for the very first stream, at least somebody's watching. What's up, Clout Chaser? I think you're the Clout Chaser. But hey, Donald Plum, before you call me any names or get into, your stupid comments as usual, if you want to tune into my streams and, whatever you like to do, drop your dumb comments, make fun of me, anything you want to do, behind a profile picture that no one knows what you look like or your name, you're free to do that. But if you want to do that, I recommend going to kick.com/euro/travel because that's where we're going to be doing most of our live streams from now on. We're actually live on Kick, but we're also live here on YouTube. We're live on both platforms at the same time, which is really cool. We're growing our Kick channel. If you're on my Kick watching, I really appreciate it. Kick.com, Kick, like kick someone with your leg. Go check that out. They're a new streaming company. Probably lots of you guys have heard them from Aiden Ross and XQC and stuff like that. But definitely check out my Kick channel. I haven't had any comments on Kick yet, but I'm watching the chat log. But we do got 2 viewers on Kick. But definitely create an account if you don't have one already. And subscribe to my channel to stay updated with the live streams. But yeah, kick.com/euro and travel. But yeah, we're growing the channel rather rapidly. Hopefully we can grow the Kick channel as well. And we'll continue to do multi-live streams and stuff like that. But drop me a comment and let me know where you guys are coming from. Inside the United States, outside the United States. I feel like Donald J. Plump is from like New York or something. But kick.com, guys, kick.com. It's also linked in my YouTube description. You click on my channel, it's like the first thing you see. Kick.com. Don't know if you can see that, but kick.com right there. But we're also live on YouTube for the Kick viewers. It's the same name if you're watching from Kick. And yeah, we're going to play a video about the El Salvadorian president laughing at the Democrats coming there because I just think that's hilarious. Because it is his country after all. It's not the Democrats' country. It's not America. So I think that's hilarious that people think they can come to his country and tell him what to do. It's not. My pronouns are deport immigrants. Great one, great one. Democrats aren't in power right now. They're losing power in the Supreme Court. They're losing power in Congress. If you're a Democrat, it's a bad time to be alive, unfortunately, realistically. Thank you, thank you. Joke of an Elon, huh? If Elon is a joke, what does that make you, a failure? I love that man Elon. I've always supported Elon way before his involvement with Donald Trump. I've loved Elon way before his involvement with Elon Musk. He's a great businessman, a great entrepreneur. And yeah. El Salvadorian president laughs at Democrats. I'm looking it up on Google, on YouTube to show you guys.
He did have due process. Everything we know about him is documented because he did.
He's a legal immigrant, though. That's the difference. A legal immigrant.
Stopped for trafficking. His wife did file these domestic violence charges against him. He was arrested.
Legal immigration, just like me. I'm an immigrant, but I did it legally.
Residence erased, which is an MS-13 markings. This is all non-disputed. So
nothing you're talking about.
But I'm saying he already got his due process, and he got a deportation order.
No.
So
the process
idea that
isn't
somehow
finished
he
because
has
the judge told them not to do it. So due process doesn't stop when you like the outcome. It's a whole process. So that's why we have
what you guys are doing. Like when they side with the criminals, it's due process, and when they side against the criminals, suddenly they
I've been giving this a lot of thought because I want to actually make sure the things that I come up here and argue, I actually believe in. And so I was thinking, I was like, am I just against this because Donald Trump is saying? I'm not.
I really admire that.
I'm not. But the thing that makes me better than the criminal is that I treat them with humanity and dignity despite of what they have done. And that when their judgment is placed on...
There are no legal immigrants in El Salvadorian prison. That's a giant conspiracy theory that has yet to be proven. Same thing with the conspiracy theory that, Elon Musk is going to cut Social Security and stuff like that. But that has not been proven, not even one single time yet. There's no proof that your Social Security money will be stopping anytime soon, and there's no proof that he's going to cut your Medicare. Thank you, Randy. Thank you. Hit the like and subscribe button. I'm just trying to ease the mind of the American people. Don't stress yourself. Don't cry. Don't beat yourself over the head. No politician will save your life. No politician will make you rich. And I'm here to preach to the liberals. The Republicans are already educated. I'm here to preach to the liberals and the radical leftists. So if you're new to my channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. We're out here doing God's work. But let's continue showing you some of this content of, the El Salvadorian president. Because I just saw, I think it's on Fox News actually. This wasn't the main video I wanted to show you guys. Okay, mocks Democrat senators. El Salvadorian president mocks Democrat senators meeting with deported immigrant.
Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen meeting face-to-face with a suspected MS-13 gang member at...
It's a Republican budget bill you're right, it is a Republican budget bill to decrease spending for unnecessary Social Security spending on people that are dead and probably illegal immigrants and other things like that. That anyone that's not valid to collect Social Security money. Yes, sir, you are correct. It is part of the Republican spending bill. I will give you credit where it's due, but it's not part of ending the Social Security benefits and Medicare for elderly people that are illegally, legitimately getting it is not a part of their budget bill or whatever.
El Salvador.
Just incredible.
What's up, Manchu? We're also live on Kick.com. Please set up an account, subscribe to me there. We're live on both at the same time.
Initially denied from entering that maximum security prison where Kilmar Abrego Garcia is being held. Van Hollen posting this photo on X saying he's spoken to Abrego Garcia's wife and will give a full update soon.
His wife hates him. She's doing it for money.
Is mocking this meeting, saying in part Kilmar Abrego
All his wife is doing is getting publicity so she can get money, just like
He also suggests he's still not looking to release Abrego Garcia, saying he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. Per the New York Post, a conservative watchdog, the American Accountability Foundation,
she's doing all that talking and stuff about her husband, and she's like, GoFundMe, give me money because my husband got deported. She's doing it for the same reason Carmelo Anthony did it, to raise money. His parents set up the GoFundMe to raise money.
Is a member of MS-13.
I have been fighting against MS-13.
Thank you, Melon Watermelon. Exactly. Carmelo Anthony's mother doing the same thing. Thank you.
The administration says an immigration judge back in 2019 found reliable testimony that Abrego Garcia...
Kick.com/EuroAndTravel. If you can go subscribe to me there, it's free and it helps out the channel there a lot. We just started on Kick.com. And thank you, Randy. Thank you.
I had heard that there were a lot of things about a certain gentleman, perhaps it was that gentleman, that would make that case be a case that's easily winnable on appeal. So we'll just have to see. I'm going to have to respond to the lawyers.
The legal back and forth means this case could ultimately land back in the hands.
Dolce and Gabbana glasses.
Ainsley and Brian.
Incredible. Thanks, Maddie. So Senator Van Hollen was able to get his interview.
Made in Italy.
So Democrats have margaritas with MS-13.
Well, we don't know that.
That's what it did. It was a margarita.
Pictures look like it was water. I think that was...
Yeah. Why do they have salt on the rim of water, though?
You're saying that because President Bukele said that miraculously he's risen from the death camps and the torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in a tropical paradise of El Salvador. Okay, first of all, why is he not in shackles? Why is he in shackles? Where are they eating? He's allowed to leave the prison and then come back?
Yeah,
or
what
is that
the
like
hell?
some restaurant at the prison?
I don't even know. I don't know what deal they worked at. I don't know what they were drinking, but at the end of the day, why are you doing this with a criminal?
Why?
Maybe you could have claimed the ignorance before. But over the last couple of days, the DOJ has released what the judge said, which is there was credible information from sources that he was a part of MS-13. He appealed that, and another federal judge said the same thing. Then we found information that he's been beating his wife, and there was credible two different situations. Ainsley, I think you have some of the stuff.
Yeah, his wife applied for a protective order against her husband in 2021. This is what she said. I was watching on my laptop, I guess in bed, and he yelled at me to turn it off. I told him I wasn't sleepy. He got angry, reached over, shut, and threw my laptop on the floor. The baby started to cry because he was putting pressure on him. My immediate reaction was to push him off of us, and he then scratched my left eye, leaving me bleeding. She goes on to say she also accused him of ripping her shorts and shirt during another explosive argument later that day. I ran to the bathroom. He ran behind me, grabbed my arm. I have marks on my left arm as well. She was afraid to be close to him, hit her at least 2 times in 2020, once with his boot, another time left her with a purple eye.
So also,
horrible. This is the people Democrats support.
Unbelievable. They talk about hanging out with known MS-13 gang members. You don't usually hang out with gang members if you're not in a gang, but let's just keep going. During the interview with officers, they observed that he was wearing a Chicago Bulls hat and a hoodie with rolls of money covering the eyes, ears, and mouth of the presidents of the seven nations. Officers show such clothing to be indicative of the Hispanic gang culture. The meaning of the clothing is represent, see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. And that's when you wear the MS-13
Hey, Grasshopper,
so
I don't know why.
Looked at his case and go, this guy's
He's a violent man.
When he realized he was going to be shipped out, he said, I can't be. He goes, I'm claiming asylum. They go, well, we're going to reject asylum. He goes, if you reject it, don't send me back to El Salvador because I think my life's going to be in jeopardy. Well, that was one reason why he wasn't deported.
Harry, the Netherlands is such a small place. Florida has more money than the Netherlands.
Central America nation.
Get crushed.
So what are you talking about? So this guy's story, he's a wife beater. For a month, she had an order of protection. He was picked up with known gang members, and he was wearing gang member things. And when he was arrested, He had drugs on him and rolls of cash, yet he has no job. That's the man Democrats are going to bat for.
And he was human trafficking in Tennessee as well, taking people from Texas, trying to get them to Maryland. And we have the Suffolk County district attorney who has prosecuted over these 75 members of MS-13. He goes, part of the reason why we don't have part of the violent history is because he was right below a homeboy. So to get officially initiated, you have to commit some violent act. So he hadn't reached that stage, that level of MS-13 yet. At this point, he was just an errand boy, but still part of the violent organization.
2 courts said he was an MS-13, even though he's denying it. And Donald Trump declared that a terrorist organization, so therefore he is here illegally or was here illegally, and he's considered a terrorist.
Real quickly, I think this is important because a lot of people have been asking, why wouldn't they put the source that found him to be a part of the MS-13 on the stand? Remember, I've been talking about protecting sources and methods. So I talked to the Suffolk County District Attorney last hour, and he said the only time we put the source on the stand is if it's a murder case. Because once you use that source, you can't use them anymore. Because part of MS-13 is they want to go after rats. You killed the rats. So the people that are confessing to the cops who are the sources, they killed them. So they said if they got to put them in protective custody.
Thank you, Manchu.
So
Thank
if they're
you.
going to burn a source, then it has to be a murder case.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Now, this is the person that the Democrats are fighting to protect, an MS-13 gang member that hits his wife. Why, I'll never understand. If you're watching over on Kick, though, please drop me a subscribe button. Much appreciated. I don't know why people are defending this guy or why they wanted to protect him so badly. He's a proven gang member. Hey, Harry, what's up? Do you want to talk about anything else? The Netherlands is falling. How do you feel? Your country is being invaded. Cry about it. I don't speak whatever language that is. I speak English. Yes, it is. I've been to the Netherlands. It's being invaded by foreign illegals. How do you feel? Cry about it. You're becoming the minority in your own country, Harry. How do you feel? You probably won't feel any type of way until it's too late. What's up, Skeeto? I need everyone to go to my new Kick account because I'm going to be mostly doing the streams there. Kick.com/Euro and Travel. It's also the first thing in my YouTube bio. I bet you do feel great, Harry. You do feel great. Also, they're making a lot of people over the... because Trump is pulling out of the Netherlands, they're making a lot of people 18 to 30-something years old join the military by force. They're enlisting people in the Netherlands. So I hope you get enlisted and, fight for your country. Maybe you'll be a little bit more patriotic. Because I've heard from many people in the Netherlands that they're leaving because their kids are being enlisted into the army by force. Because Trump is pulling out of NATO and they're trying to build a stronger army. So I hope you're enjoying that. Maybe that's why you're crying so hard about Trump. But if you're watching over on Kick, I need my first Kick subscriber, guys. We're getting a couple views here and there, but I need my first Kick subscriber. Thank you, Skeeto. Thank you. Now, Pakistan and China, they have their own deal together, a mineral kind of deal. Harry's never left his own country, but he can be forced to be enlisted into the army or whatever they have over there. Since Trump is pulling out of NATO, he's going to need to join. He won't have much other choice. Maybe it's not an enforced inscription, but they're definitely having younger and younger people join the armed forces over there in the Netherlands. Where are you coming from, David? What state are you in where it's snowing? I do want to go to Rotterdam, which is a place not too far away from Amsterdam. It seems like a little bit of an underrated spot, but I also want to drive out more around the Netherlands. Hey, RFK is curing all autism. And I'm wearing sunglasses because I live in a beautiful sunny country. You're probably in your mom's basement. It seems pretty dark and shady down there, so you might want to take off your sunglasses. But I don't know, that's just a hint of advice for you. Also, because I even have the view through this window, so when I'm in my living room, you know, I see the ocean and the sea. It's a little bit sunny, you know? Dang, no, I could have gone harder on him even. I could have gone harder. I was just being nice. We said Hunter's, Jelly, not David. Colorado is a lovely place. I've been there too. But they also have a little bit of issues. I don't know how you feel about that, but Denver is great. We can go skiing. Yes, I live alone. I'm trying to be nice, but all these comments, sometimes I just gotta snap back on them just to put them in their place. And also because it's really funny. The Dutch are definitely considering mandatory conscription for the military. Thank you. Thank you. See, it wasn't 100% accurate. I thought they already mandated it, but it looks like they're going to be mandating it. So I'm going to see you in a couple years, Harry, when you get out of the armed forces. We can talk then. When you get out of the armed forces, we can talk then. Colorado is way better to live than in Alabama or Louisiana. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Come to Rotterdam. We will meet. I don't know, man. You look like a pretty, I mean, if you're going to be friendly, then definitely. I'll come to Rotterdam. We can meet. But if you're going to try some violent acts against me, just so you know, it's probably not going to work out. But I am a friendly person, regardless of all this aggressive talk. Hey, Colorado. Shout out Colorado. Trump has supported the lower middle class. Who do you think the tariffs hurt more? The people with hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in their stock market investments? Or do you think it hurts the poor people with no investments more? If he really cared about the billionaires and the millionaires, then he would have listened to them when they begged him to get rid of the tariffs the first day. Even Elon Musk is like, please, please, not my Tesla stock, not my Tesla stock. And Trump didn't care. He destroyed the whole market. I'm showing you the views. He's literally saving the middle class. Thank you. What do you mean, Trump terrorists? But yeah, I would love to meet you, Harry. Even if we don't agree with politics, even if, you know, Rotterdam seems like a nice place. Do you live in Rotterdam, Harry? Yeah, absolutely. If I come to Rotterdam, we can do a video. We can just have travel discussions. We don't really got to keep it political. You can show me around. We'll do some videos. I'll film some stuff. Maybe a couple live stream. Drop me your information. Drop me your Facebook. Drop me something on my video. Drop me something that I can find you on, and I'll message you. I'm older than you, Donald J. Plump. I don't know how old you are. Martial arts extraordinaire. How many people in Colorado do we have in here? And where in Colorado are you coming from? Love the travel vlog genre. Yeah, I'm trying to do more and more videos. I've been thinking about honestly coming back to the Netherlands anyway, so if I come there, it would be nice to meet someone and show me around and that knows the local language and such. Trump is the best we've ever had. Guess how old I am? I'm in my mid-20s. Has Harry seen the rest of the world? Everyone's asking me, have you seen the rest of the world, Harry? Have you left the Netherlands? Europe is a big continent, you know, and every culture is different. So maybe Harry should visit me in Yugoslavia. I'll show you around. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Yugoslavia anymore. It's ex-Yugoslavia. Montenegro, Croatia, Bosnia, Albania, Serbia. Well, I don't know if it's true about Sweden, but I heard that they're ranked the #1 freest country during COVID. Absolutely zero restrictions, but I could be wrong about that, but that's what I hear. Skeeto, are you a millionaire? That's my question for you. You're the one always talking about you have like a coffee shop and a bunch of businesses in Dubai, yada, yada, yada. So maybe you should answer that question. I'm probably a millionaire in your currency, in Pakistani currency. A multi-millionaire in Pakistani currency. I actually have no clue how much the currency is worth there. I'm just talking crap. Being a millionaire in Dubai money is a lot different than in euros or dollars. Just saying. Harry said, of course. Where have you been, Harry? What's your favorite country to visit? How old are you, Donald J. Plump? Age doesn't show intelligence. Look at Biden. He's almost 100 years old and he knows nothing. The floor keeps rising, but the middleman doesn't get a raise. We get squished. Manufacturing is getting destroyed. Trump is bringing back manufacturing. Yes, I know they're influenced by Turkish culture. Shout out Turkey. Great country. Cyprus is great too. I really want to visit Cyprus. It's not too far from here. Bosnia is 50-50. Bosnia is influenced by a bunch of different cultures. Croatia, Turkish, true. You've been to Greece? Istanbul? I want to go to Greece. I haven't been there yet. Greece, Istanbul, and Poland. I definitely want to go to those three. How do you feel about Poland's politics? That's probably about as far right and conservative in Europe as you get. How old are you, Donald J. Plump? You never answered that question. I already told you how old I am. My guess is you're probably between 40 and 50. Greece is great, guys. It's really affordable. It's cheaper than other Eastern European countries like Croatia and Montenegro. It's really good for that reason. At least that's what I hear. And the people are really happy, even though they're dealing with their own economic difficulties and stuff like that. They're really happy and good culture people from everything that I hear. but I could be wrong. What's not true? Poland is absolutely one of the most conservative countries in Europe. They shoot to kill when it comes to illegal immigrants. They have such a strong border. They have armed militias sitting at the border. If any illegal immigrant tries to come in, they shoot them to kill them. They don't just deport them like Americans do. They shoot to kill them. Greece is poor. Well, it depends what you mean by poor. If you mean GDP, then yeah, they're poor. But if you mean happiness and good living, then yeah. We get it, Donald Plump. You're like 40 years old, but you won't say how old. Spain is great. I used to live in Spain. Sorry, that's my oven. I'm waiting for some food to cool off. But let's see. Let me get back to the comments section here. The people commenting on the live stream. I don't know if you would consider 4 or 5 countries all around the world, Harry. Have you been to America? Or have you been to anywhere outside of Europe? Because, you know, there's 198 countries. I wouldn't exactly call 5 to 10 countries around the world, but that's just my personal opinion. Older people try to tell me that all the time. They're like, I've been all around the world. When they say all around the world, they just mean they've been to Europe and America. Congratulations. I actually want to see around the world, not just America and Europe. I want to see Thailand, China, South Korea, Vietnam, India, Pakistan, Dubai. Okay, you have been a few places. So maybe 7 countries, or do you think you've been more? Give us an estimate, Harry. How many countries have you been to? Congratulations, Ski-Doo. It sounds like you're doing good, man. Mechanical engineering, good for your father. Jesus Christ, Harry, you do not look 43. I thought you were in your 20s. What's for lunch? Fried chicken. Because I'm American. Well, I don't know how happy Greece is. I'm not really one to judge that, but I do know, a lot of people there, seem happy. Saudi Arabia. Well, the UAE. Sometimes I'll say cities when I'm talking about countries. But yes, I know Dubai is not a country. Yeah, man, you gotta stay safe for the lady boys. You can't get tricked. That's a horrible time. Have you been to Dubai? I don't want to live there. I just want to see it once in my life. I'm not Muslim, so I wouldn't want to live in a Muslim country. Not that I have anything wrong with Muslims or people of other religions, but obviously we don't live by the same ethics, so it's probably best that way. Congratulations, Donald J. Plump. I'm English. I've traveled across Europe, Thailand, Nepal, India, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Morocco, and America. America by far was my least favorite. Depends on what part of America. America's all different. And in the last year, I mean, I can't really specifically tell you in the last year because I don't really remember exactly because I've been traveling for a lot. But I've, of course, traveled to Spain. Of course, I've traveled to Serbia. Of course, I've traveled to Montenegro, where I live now. Of course, I've traveled to America, Florida. Of course, I've traveled to Canada. I've traveled to Andorra, which is a country between France and Spain. I've traveled to France. I've traveled to Switzerland. I've traveled to New York. I've traveled to Ibiza, which I know it's a part of Spain, but it is a lot different. But you definitely get the feeling that you're in Spain. Am I English? I'm American. I'm not from England. Yes, Dubai is growing faster than ever. I believe it. Yes, I know the human rights don't have the best history in the UAE, especially for the workers. I'm not wearing a watch at the moment. And why do you care about my age so much, Donald J. Plump? You haven't once told us your age. That means I have the rest of my life to live, and you don't. How do you feel? Talking about age every 2 seconds. Like I said, look at Joe Biden. He's 100 years old, and he has no wisdom or anything. Yeah, I got some watches, sure. Exactly, Donald J. Plump. You shouldn't be hating on the younger generation. That's honestly kind of pathetic. I mean, I get when people are like my age making fun of me and saying stupid comments, but when you're in your late 40s or early 50s, that kind of behavior is not really cool anymore. Just my own personal opinion. And definitely talking down on the younger generation. The younger generation isn't like your generation. If you talk like this to the, let's say, I'm going to say what they call them nowadays, the younger generation, what they call each other, the YNs, the crash outs, these type of people will literally off you for disrespecting them. So keep that kind of behavior to YouTube because I don't want anything bad to happen to you. I'm just saying. Because my generation is a lot different. They don't put up with as much nonsense as your generation did. That's the main difference. Your generation just get a little fight or something like that and that's it. My generation in person is completely different. Age does not determine wisdom. I mean, I like people of all ages. It doesn't really matter. I just don't think it's right to make fun of someone because of their age. If they're older or they're younger, that's like super immature in general. Hey, what's up, Joshua? If you guys are new to my stream, go to kick.com. I just started a new profile there. We're also live on kick.com. I don't have a daddy that's alive, so maybe you live on your daddy's money. When he passed away, he left you an inheritance, but I didn't get that, buddy. So you can say all you want. You're just jealous of my awesome living and my awesome views. I'm 30 years younger than you, and I traveled more places in the last year than you have, so how do you feel? Probably like crap. I would too if I was you. But no hard feelings, buddy, no hard feelings. You just seem like an immature fella. Real immature. You've been trying to argue with me every single live stream. Yes, this is a pro-Trump channel. This is a channel that promotes critical thinking. I'm not here to show off. I'm not here to brag about anything. I'm not really, I have some nice material possessions and stuff like that, but I'm not too materialistic. I have other important values other than material goods. Just saying. Hit the like and subscribe button. No, I'm not bragging about material goods. I just said that. What have I bragged about? I just said I have other, values. Cry, Democrats, cry. I'm not triggered at all. But check out my kick.com account, kick.com/Euro and Travel. I'm going to be mostly going live there. No inappropriate comments like that again, or I'm kicking you out. No, it's okay, Harry. It's okay. Hit the like and subscribe button, though, if you guys are new here. And yeah. Haven't seen any proof of born U.S. citizens that have been deported by ICE, but if you have proof of it, I'm here to listen all the way, but I'm yet to see any proof of it. But go to my Kick account, kick.com/Euro and Travel. The link is my bio. I'll be going live mostly there from now on. So much appreciated, guys, much appreciated. If you're new to the YouTube channel, though, definitely hit the like and subscribe button. I just hope when I'm 40 or 50 years old, I'm not on YouTube commenting on people 30 years younger than me and getting upset because they live a better life than me. Because that means I would have completely failed as a man in general at that point, if that's my life at 40 or 50. By then, hopefully I'm not on YouTube at all anymore, even creating content. Hopefully I'm retired, living in a big mansion somewhere, enjoying my life to the fullest. And I'm not commenting or watching politics or anything anymore because I'm just so successful at that point, nothing matters. Which I'm sure that will happen in the end. Because bravery and saying what you think always pays off in the end. Being a coward and hiding online with a faceless profile, that never makes you successful, that never does anything. You're just consuming content and spreading hate. But being brave and saying what you mean and always speaking your mind to people, that's something that can pay off in life. I can tell you firsthand. But if you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'm going to put on some content for you because I don't think we ever finished the video. But yes, this is just a pro-Trump account, just to be clear. Trump's wife will never get deported. But let's play some more things. We gotta, show the Dems coming.
We're doing very well with negotiations. We have a lot of countries that want to make a deal. Frankly, they want to make deals more than I do.
Yeah, we've got a process in place. We're working on the big 15 economies first.
Donald Trump is clearly crashing the economy in real time.
Crashing it, cry about it, cry about it.
Yeah, I think some of these
Trump
early
for
deals
supreme
are really
dictator.
important. I think the net result of all of this is going to be the trade barriers are going to come down.
Well, the president negotiating with Italy's prime minister today, saying had a very productive call with the president of Mexico yesterday. Likewise, I met with the highest level Japanese trade representatives. It was a very productive meeting. Every nation, including China, wants to meet today. Italy.
Of course.
The status of the trade negotiations with major partners. These are all trying to negotiate currently, and some are down the road a little bit more on negotiations. But as far as what has gotten across the finish line. We don't have a finished product as of yet. The Treasury Secretary is saying that'll take time. But as you heard, he wants to focus on the big 15 economies.
The big
Let's bring
15.
in our panel, Trey Gowdy, former congressman from South Carolina, Leslie Marshall, Democratic strategist, and Ben Domenech, editor-at-large for The Spectator, host of the Ben Domenech podcast on Fox News Radio. Okay, Ben, we obviously haven't seen the deal, the blueprint of what that looks like. When there is some kind of deal, whatever it looks like, it's going to set the table probably for the markets to be happy about.
Look, I think the president wants to make the most deals. He really wants to lean into this and have new negotiations with all of these different economies. And I think that's based largely on a theory that they essentially are going to have to pick between their relationship with China and their relationship with the United States. And as this has taken form over the past couple of weeks, it's been a bit chaotic, particularly, I think, for Republicans on Capitol Hill who haven't known how to respond to it necessarily on a daily basis. I think we have a clearer idea at this point about what the president's priorities are, and whether he's able to land the plane on all of these different things is going to be a real test. A test not just for the American economy writ large, but particularly, I think, a test for American families, just given the goods that are going to be affected, particularly kitchen, household goods, toys, and things for child safety and the like that are going to be dramatically affected by the fact that we are now in officially a trade war with China.
Yeah, here is the president on trying to reach a deal with China eventually.
Has he called you directly, President Xi, or reached out to try to facilitate a conversation?
Well, you'd think it was pretty obvious that he has, but we will talk about that soon. It's not that important because, honestly, we're going to have a deal. I believe we're going to have a deal with China. And if we don't, we're going to have a deal anyway because we're going to set a certain target, and that's going to be it.
Meantime, Reuters has this headline: China says it will ignore U.S. tariff numbers game. Really, the question is, how long can China put up with this? They import, Leslie, a lot into their country to survive economically. And, a trade war, who hurts more, us or them?
Well, there's a couple of things when you look at China. China has a very different population than we do and a very different kind of patriotism. And believe it or not, their people are willing to hurt more than our people are when it comes to money and when it comes to what they pay. Additionally, we actually import more from China than they do, so we're going to get hurt more because we know tariffs are taxes that are passed on to the consumer. The other thing that concerns me as an American, as a consumer, a voter, and somebody who's trying to balance my checkbook as well here in the United States, Brett, is that we had the Prime Minister of Italy here today, and even though my mother's Sicilian and I love her homeland, the Prime Minister herself said that she doesn't have the power to lock in a deal. You have 27 EU nations. She's one that is sat down, but we have some of our other allies met with, and that is China, not at the White House.
Yeah. Meantime, Trey, the Federal Reserve Chairman expressing concerns, and then the President expressing concerns about him. Take a listen.
The level of tariff increases announced so far is significantly larger than anticipated, and the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth.
We have a Federal Reserve Chairman that is playing politics. I don't think he's doing the job. He's
been
too
failing
late.
for the last however long he's been in there.
And I'm not happy with him. If I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast.
Meantime, the Treasury Secretary reportedly urging caution. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has repeatedly cautioned White House officials that any attempt to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell would risk destabilizing financial markets, according to two people close to the White House. Trey, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think his term is up, and I would remind folks, Brett, remember, Republicans wanted John Koskinen out as the IRS commissioner. They wanted Rod
We got a lot of dumb Democrats in here. A lot of dumb ones.
So the fact that he doesn't like Jerome Powell does not mean he won't let him finish.
I hope your 401ks crash to the dust. That way I can buy a billion more stocks and build my
from being U.S. attorney and what used to be
portfolio
the
to the moon.
I mean, it's not like Jerome Powell.
If you're a crying Democrat and can't handle a dip in the stock market, you don't deserve to be in the stock market.
I think he waits. He doesn't want to rattle the market.
There's always recessions. There's always dips in the market. If you're just going to cry about it instead of buying, then you shouldn't be in the market in the first place.
Average of polls and understanding this is recent polls, but it's basically the performance, job performance overall.
You can't handle a 15%
upside down, and this has turned.
Then you shouldn't be in the stock market
on the economy, and you can see immigration.
Because your mind is too weak to handle
success there. Some polls have it much bigger spread on a positive side for immigration. What do you make of those numbers?
Well,
I think they're low. More people than that.
By leaning so heavily into this El Salvador story and going after it to such a degree. You saw the comments from James Carville saying that this should be a top agenda item. I think that's completely backwards. The simple fact is that in 2024, in November, they were taught a lesson when it came to the border and when it came to being soft on crime that they needed to heed. The president has, given his policy, given them an opening on the economy that I think they could pursue to say that they need to prioritize the issues related to middle class and working class Americans and make the argument that they could do a better job of that than the president currently. But I think that the president needs to push back against that. I think that he needs to do so more vociferously and not just trust that people are going to be able to navigate their way through this chaos with confidence that what comes next is going to be better.
Yeah. Just now, crossing the wires, the U.S. Trade Representative announcing what they call targeted and phased action to reverse Chinese dominance of global shipbuilding, designed to restore U.S. shipbuilding, mitigating potential disruptions to global shipping and exports.
Can we do more tariffs?
Of China
Can
would
we
be
put
assessed
Trump as the
quarterly
king and the
starting at $50
dictator?
per net ton and
We need it as the
This is a
dictator.
big deal for all kinds of companies that use Chinese shipping in one way or another. So again, targeting China as it breaks at this hour.
Now, this President Trump justifying his hardline deportation crackdown as Democratic lawmakers like Senator Chris Van Hollen scrambled to El Salvador to rally behind Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the alleged MS-13 gang member who, as it's now been revealed,
I love the taste of liberal tears in the morning. Cry about it.
The criminals,
supreme dictator,
at the highest level, murderers,
and occultist.
Many of those people murdered more than one person, and they're on the loose. And I was elected to get rid of those criminals, to get them out of the country.
You've never made $10,000 in a month in your life. Never, not even once. How does it feel?
Authority away from a president.
One anonymous House Democrat is not happy with how his party is focused on fighting deportations, telling Axios that Trump is, quote, setting a trap for the
50
Democrats.
years on this earth, and not one month
like
did you
usual.
get 10,000.
And right on cue, it looks like these folks are falling for it too.
Democrats should have someone on the ground in El Salvador every day until
much less lost 6,000
is sent home.
If you're not speaking up for this man, there will be no one left to speak
You
up.
haven't lost 6,000. You haven't even made 6,000.
Garcia, then they can
You haven't even made five figures in 1 month.
To Abrego. They could do this to any immigrant. What is stopping them
You
from
shouldn't even consider yourself a man at that point.
This is simply about letting him have his day in court.
Greg, the strategy of ready, fire, aim strikes the Democrats again.
Yes. How do you think Van Hollen felt sitting on the plane, heading to El Salvador as the news comes out about this Father of the Year? Mm-hmm. It's like, wait, this illegal immigrant has a history of violence, attacked his wife.
I agree, MP. Drop a like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel.
Can we do an emergency?
Deport them all.
Emergency. He should have faked a medical emergency and landed in Miami.
Deport the crybaby liberal Democrats.
Fall for this BS from politicians. It's rare to see a politician fall for their own BS. Don't hit your own.
We got an illegal in chat. We got an illegal in chat.
Cory Booker is going.
As I understand it, that trip is still on.
My theory, it's because it's a captive audience. He's going to a prison. They can't leave when he starts yapping. After 10 minutes, they're going to be begging for the lethal injection. But the Democrats keep egging each other on to participate in actions that only damage their credibility and their careers and their future. Remember, it's the Dems who told people to take to the streets, get in their faces, bring the fight to the people, while also telling them that their enemy is a Nazi or a Hitler. Van Hollen took the bait. Now I think he's a dead fish. Who can take him seriously after this? You know, you're chasing a wife beater, you know, like it's a climax of Love Actually. This Maryland Dad is yet another like daily special that they serve up to the gullible who are incapable of telling truth from fiction. This situation will stick with them. But do you ever, I mean, think about people who aren't a politician. Like, do you think anybody's going to hire a Colombian student who tore down posters of hostages? So they were fed a lot of propaganda and they're going to pay for it. People vandalizing cars. People are going to hire that guy. They're going to know his name. He was filmed. And now you got Van Hollen, who looks like a complete tool. This stuff sticks with you when you fall for this crap.
Smash the like and subscribe button, especially if you are an American patriot.
But apparently they thought it through, and they
if you love your country and love America, please
we have a rule
smash the like and subscribe button.
Democrats on the staff, and we have to have some feminists, because if I just have people that just say yes, Jesse, I'll get fired. You have to have a line that you can't cross, and I blame his staff. They have dumb staff. You have to rely on staff to tell you, turn the plane around. Oh, or this guy, maybe he's really not dad of the year. If you're street smart, remember, Greg, we were in the green room during Smollett, and we were like, I don't think so here. He's going out for a sandwich at midnight. I don't think this is right.
That's green room smart.
This is green room smart, okay? Maybe not book smart, but I'll take green room smart. When you know a guy is arrested in a gang sweep of other MS-13 members, you know he's not just hanging with the wrong crowd on accident, because it said in the detective's report, MS-13 only hang out with other MS-13. If they hang out with someone outside MS-13, it compromises.
Lots of people are subbing.
So if you're in a group of MS-13, you're in MS-13. So that's how I knew this guy was.
Lots of gang members have families. El Chapo has a family.
A couple years ago with like 8 guys in his car. And he told the cop, oh yeah, we're going to a job. I'm just taking him from Texas to Maryland. He's an obvious human trafficker. And he wasn't arrested then because guess what? Biden didn't do anything back then. If you are going to talk about the rule of law and due process, you have to have a victim that is pure. You can't have a Floyd, you can't have a Smollett, you can't have a Garcia. Your example of victimhood has to be a sympathetic victim, not someone who beats his wife and traffics humans and is in a bloodthirsty gang that rapes and murders people. Remember that ad in the last election, and it was Kamala Harris wants to do sex change operations on illegal aliens in prison? This ad is going to run all midterm. That the Democrats are trying to jailbreak an MS-13 wife-beating, human-smuggling gang member. And that is going to kill him this midterm.
Kill him! The Democrats will never be in power again. You might as well leave the country.
The country's with the president, and I disagree with you about George Floyd. He was killed on this.
Hit the like and subscribe button. Subscribe for Trump. Subscribe for your patriotism.
We're about, none of us are.
If you're a patriotic American lover, hit the subscribe button.
I don't want to. Well, go figure. My hand is up. Go figure. 2, Democrats, you all are right. The message you're giving Democrats, this is going to run like the
controversial opinion. No due process for non-citizens. Just send them back.
Was not able to answer the question. What I don't understand, and I get the issues of due process and the legal concerns my party may have, but let the court sort that out. I think trying to find.
As you can see, Trump doesn't care about due process, so cry about him. He sent the illegal back to his country.
Prices are going up outside of car dealerships, showing how the price of cars are going up because of this unbelievably, I think, misguided plan the president has on tariffs. It'd be great to show them at grocery stores. Why not go to closed Social Security offices and Veterans Affairs services centers across the country and show how veterans, to your point, where veterans should be prioritized? Why not go with a group of retirees and veterans to say, look, their 401ks are shrinking because of what's happening, Mr. President. What you're doing is not working.
Cry about it.
I think we have to step back and realize.
I hope every single person like Donald J. Plump has his investments shrink to zero.
And the only way
And
we
when
will
they're
do
almost
that
at zero, I'll start
successfully
buying
is
in
to
and
win
then watch the
elections.
prices
And the issues
skyrocket
we're
as he
choosing
sells
to
his
highlight
life
are not
savings
issues
for
that are gonna win
$2.
elections. They may be issues worthy of attention. Let the courts deal with this. This is not a matter that United States senators should be traveling to El Salvador at a time in which the country where Americans are paying more for the things they need, are worried more about their kids' education, and concerned about their futures. This issue here does not lend itself to that.
I wanted to mention that, so Senator Van Hollen, he gets there. He doesn't get to see Garcia. He basically goes on a sightseeing expedition to El Salvador for 24 hours. But I think it might be better for him in the long run, because if the pictures were of him coddling and trying to make feel better a MS-13 gang member, alleged, whatever, proven, that might have been worse for him in the long run.
So the mother of Rachel Morin is calling out Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen for his visit to El Salvador, attempting to bring back...
Thank you, Can-Do. Thank you.
To have a senator...
What drug problem are we talking about in America? Absolutely, there's a drug problem.
My daughter and the brutal death that she endured so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring
Let the Democrats drink a cup of copium and give me some of their liberal tears.
On issues overseas. What about his own state?
Trump doesn't give a fuck about Supreme Court judges. Deport them.
And that's 5%.
He's the supreme dictator.
Maryland is just one of 6 states.
He's the king of the country, not them.
Immigrants between 2019 and 2022. Those folks were there illegally. And according to the White House, these are just some of who have been arrested or convicted of crime. As you can see, it's a long list of people. Here to discuss is the mother of Rachel Morin, Patty Morin, and Tammy Nobles, the mother of Kayla Hamilton, who was killed by an illegal immigrant in Maryland in 2022. Ladies, thank you so much for joining the program.
Anyone that came into America legally deserves to be there.
Get through this difficult,
anyone who came in illegally doesn't deserve to be there.
A lot over the years as we mourn the loss of your daughter. I don't think I've ever heard you go into the detail that you went into yesterday. What compelled you to do that?
Well, I didn't know all the details until the actual trial itself. And I so appreciate...
Poor woman killed by illegals.
Law enforcement.
Killed by the people the Democrats protect.
For keeping
How
those details and
pathetic.
keeping the integrity of the case. So I appreciate it. I didn't like it at the time, but I appreciate it now. But I shared those details yesterday because I wanted people to understand and to know and to see the truth. That, yes, maybe some of these immigrants that are coming in really are seeking a better life. But there is also a majority amongst them that are criminals from other countries.
A
that have no
majority.
regard for life at all. And I wanted people to understand just how brutal that they are and how they can just take a life without even giving it a second thought. And that this is a safety issue, and it is, I believe, a national security issue, having all these criminals in our country. And so
it's crazy how Democrats are blind to an innocent woman killed by illegal immigrants. If you're a real American patriot, you will not stand up for this. Smash the subscribe button. We can't handle this any longer. Thank God for Donald J. Trump deporting everybody that's an illegal immigrant.
With the murder of your daughter, Kayla, has the senator, leadership of the Democratic Party, anyone reached out to you as they have been covering what's going on with this other illegal MS-13 member?
No, they haven't. They never reached out to me, even when after Kayla was
The Democrats are the only one crying about anything. They've been crying about Donald J. Trump for 3 months.
The Democratic Party.
They still got 3 years and 8 months left to cry out their eyes and hit themselves over their heads as they watch Donald Trump, the King of America, take over the world.
Same thing. Oh, the Republicans are using you as a political stunt, or I'm sorry for your condolences. That's all they had to offer. They did not offer any solutions on the ongoing problem.
Patty, this has become so political. We're talking about American citizens here. Why do you think the Democrats are so insistent on defending? We're not just talking about illegals. We're talking about criminal aliens in this country.
That's right, Alice.
I think it
America
comes down to
first.
I think that there is corruption in the highest.
Stefan, if you don't stop
places
spamming
in
the
our
comments
government,
with the same message,
and
I'm just going to ban
I
you
think
from
that
commenting.
Somehow this profits them.
Say something new and
their
interesting,
party.
or at least
I don't know
insult
if
me.
it's
Don't
to
spam the
just
comments.
Weaken our
You guys
nation
have been
as a
crying
whole
since
so they
2016.
can push more of their agenda, but it's just
No,
it's not
Harry,
even
I don't do
common sense.
anything.
We should be protecting life. We should be protecting American citizens. That's why you're elected. That's why we pay taxes. And it's just
All right, I
so
warned
out
you,
of
buddy.
touch
You're
with
just
the American
spamming the
people.
comments section. Now I'm going to put you in
it boggles my
timeout,
mind.
just like your
Before
mom
I go
does
back over
every
to
day.
Tara, I'm just curious, after your press conference, you know, the whole country, at least the stations that decided to air, which was mostly Fox stations or conservative outlets, aired it in full. But I know the senator had to see it. So did he reach out?
Yeah,
after?
spam is not free
No.
speech.
No,
Yes, sir,
I've
I
heard
believe in Jesus
no
Christ. I
response
believe in
from
God.
Any Democrats?
Thank
I've
you,
received some threatening
Caroline.
phone calls, but
Shout out
I've
New York
received
City. I
no
hope you subscribe.
response from anybody. They're ignoring it. It's kind of like, a little toddler. If I don't look at you, you can't see me. Or if I don't look at that, I didn't do that kind of thing. They're ignoring it.
Tammy, this may be a difficult question. How do you keep your composure when all of this is happening? It was a brutal murder of your daughter.
Thank you,
But you seem
Caroline.
so strong
You're a patriot.
as you continue to tell her story. Where does that strength come from?
It comes
I don't know why you're
from,
crying from
it comes from
Norway,
the
because
love
Norway
of
is a
my
beautiful
child,
country.
and
You should be crying
to
about the
make sure
illegal
that no
immigrant
one
invasion
else
in Norway,
will
though.
suffer the way that Kayla did.
Norwegian people are disgusted by
Also,
their country being
what she
invaded
went
by
through
illegal
when she
immigrants,
was
just like
sleeping in her bed, and he
Americans.
broke into her room and strangled
Thank
her,
you,
and everything
Lilith.
is caught on voicemail. And he beat her and raped her after he killed her, and this was a child. Like, this was a 16-year-old that did this horrible things, and I couldn't imagine.
That's right. Go move to
what she would be
Canada,
like
lose
as
all
an
your
adult.
rights. A phone call just completely interrupted the stream, so hold on, guys. Let me fix that again.
Tammy, I'm sure you saw Patty's testimony from the
Give me a
podium
second.
yesterday. What do you want to say to Patty?
It was a FaceTime call. My regular calls come through my other
So
phone.
happy that Patty received justice for Rachel. Patty, I am so happy that you got justice for Rachel. I saw the press conference and I saw them all out there, and it kind of brought tears to my eyes because I remember Kayla's trial, and I know it's just getting justice doesn't help. I mean, it helps, but it's a different type of thing. It's
Okay, wait, this is not even the video. Hold on, let me change it back. Like I said, the FaceTime call completely interrupted it.
Girls are gone forever. They'll never come back. Ever.
Okay, here we are.
It doesn't heal a broken heart that you too much.
Quick reminder, Stefan, I can time you out again if you want to keep spamming my chat with stupid comments. And as I said a million times before, it's quite sunny outside. So maybe if that was your view, Stefan, maybe you'd feel differently. Maybe you would need some sunglasses too if you could see the ocean from every room in your home. But let's get back to the video now. What's important here?
We appreciate y'all telling the country your story, coming on Fox and Friends, and we just want you to know from the Fox and Friends family, from the Fox family at large, we won't forget their stories. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, more Fox and Friends coming up.
Fox and
Now,
Friends.
we begin with new revelations surrounding the illegal immigrant deported to El Salvador. Democrats have been painting Kilmar Abrego Garcia as, quote, an innocent Maryland dad. But the Justice Department released documents yesterday, including a
I don't even know what that
2019
means. I'm just timing you out permanently. I'm sick of
confirmed
you.
Garcia's MS-13 ties. Fox News obtained written domestic violence allegations filed in court by his wife, handwritten by her in 2021. But Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen flew to El Salvador on a mission to bring Garcia back to the U.S.
The goal of my visit is to talk to people here about the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I told his wife and his family I would do everything possible to bring him home, and we're going to keep working at this until we're successful.
Rachel Morin's mother slammed the Maryland senator for the trip during emotional remarks.
I'm not trying to hide my eyes or my face. Just to be clear with everyone, there's a million photos and a million videos of me all over my channel.
From Maryland.
Literally, the sun is starting to go down here. Probably about 2 hours away from sunset. And the sun is shining through my windows. As I look at the ocean, it's absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. I'm sure you haters don't know what that looks like, but I will not be taking off my sunglasses. If you want to see me without them, go watch another one of my videos.
To fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do? Or my daughter, or my grandchildren. I don't understand this.
Shannon, millions of Americans don't understand it either, including the Maryland senator's constituents.
The majority of Americans don't understand anything radical
leftist for the victim, the Maryland victim,
Democrats believe in or say.
And there's no one who's going to be more powerful and advocate on this than the mother. And there are actually two mothers now of Maryland women who were raped and killed by people who were in this country illegally. Those men have been convicted. There's no question about that. So I think for some people, they hear this, okay, Abrego Garcia is separated from his wife, from his children, and people will say, well, these women are forever separated from their loved ones.
As a Latina, I totally agree with this person's deportation. Thank you, Carolina.
The juxtaposition of the advocacy by Senator Van Hollen is raising a lot of questions, and people say, including these mothers, where were you when my child was a victim of somebody here illegally? And I didn't hear from you. So why are you now spending this money and this time advocating on the other side of this issue?
And Lisa, I want to talk to you about strategy, because many question this from the obvious emotional and moral standpoint that Shannon just articulated, but there are plenty in the party, in the Democrat Party, including James Carville, who many consider the strategic leader, who have said that needs to be a, quote, top agenda, is bringing back this person rather than advocating. And as he said, I thought it was so interesting because his quote was, well, should we really fight on this turf or should we fight more on ordinary people? The argument being that this guy's an ordinary person, but to Shannon's point, the ordinary people are the Americans being destroyed by many illegal immigrants under this concept.
Well, I think that this shows us if the Democrats' distorted worldview, where somehow criminals are victims and victims are criminals. And you listen to what this mother said, you know, why does that person have more rights than I do, my daughter or my grandchildren? I don't understand this. That's a question we all asked ourselves for 4 years under the Biden administration, as they allowed millions of illegal aliens to enter into this country, terrorists, gangbangers, criminals. And you look at all of this yesterday, particularly with some of this additional information being exposed, as Senator Van Hollen goes to El Salvador to rescue an El Salvadoran from his home country, to bring him back to the United States, an illegal alien who judges believe that he was
by taxpayer dollars.
Who judges believe that he might be an MS-13 member. The Prince George's County Police Department believed that as well. So this is the person you go to rescue. And so I just think it all, and then also the Trump administration blasted MSNBC and CNN for not covering this mother's remarks. So I don't understand their worldview where, you know, someone like Jacob Blake or this guy, that they're heroes. and they don't stand up for the American
They're
citizens.
heroes.
The
They're
ones killed
heroes.
at the hands of the people that they're advocating for.
Perfect segue, Lisa, because I wanted to talk to you about the media coverage. So not only taking Rachel Morin's mother's comments, but also the perseveration on this individual as being somehow the sort of lodestar of the party and of the values when it represents such a backwards look to so many Americans.
You know, I saw people saying that in the media, and then I saw James Carville saying it. This is the future of your party. This is what you want to advocate for. I want to mention a press release that came out from the White House yesterday. It's fascinating. They came up with a list of people who had been arrested by ICE, who were illegal immigrants and were charged. What were they charged of? Half of the folks that they mentioned, and I'm not doing the entire list because it's really pretty long. They were arrested for trafficking, abuse, and solicitation. Trafficking, abuse, and solicitation. These are crimes against women. Do you remember when the Democratic Party was trying to help women, was in favor of helping women overcome barriers and dangers and crime?
Trying to get my views up. Everyone go subscribe. If you're watching from YouTube, guys, go subscribe to the new Kick streams. Kick.com/Euro and Travel. Much appreciated. Hit the like and subscribe button if you guys did.
For starters, here illegally. As a physician, I'm deeply disturbed by the report you showed at the beginning of potential domestic abuse that according to the Times of India and other sources, that his wife was putting in complaints to the Maryland court in 2021 of her being brutally assaulted. But you know what, Emily? Even that doesn't need to be a criteria to have someone who enters the country illegally return to their country where they came from. Why does that have to be justified? And how could this possibly be a winning issue for the Democrats when the American people agree with what I just said?
Yeah, to your point, many questioning why does Senator Chris Van Hollen care more about Abrego Garcia than he does about Rachel Morin and his own constituents. But I think that question will be answered certainly the next time voters vote there in Maryland.
We are American citizens. Why should we allow people like this?
Well, I'm an American too, so I don't know what you mean, but yeah.
To murder
no, I never said that though.
Our mothers, our sisters, our daughters. So we have to look at it as we.
No, I got the American
citizens.
passport, so everyone looks at me as an American.
Our
no
families,
matter where I travel to.
Our borders, our children.
Quite the moment yesterday, the White House there, the emotional scene, the mother of Rachel Morin, Patty Morin, recounting her daughter's murder.
Donald J. Trump is doing everything right for America.
Also voicing
her
support for President Trump's deportation agenda. Jeff Gaylor is the sheriff of Harford County. That's in Maryland, where Rachel was murdered, and he's with us live from the town of Bel Air, county seat, about a mile from.
My friend says thanks to Donald Trump for letting him get a new car.
Play soundbite number one, guys. Here's more from.
I don't even know what the comment section's saying. It's probably just full of liberal crybabies as usual.
The courtroom, he actually looked like.
They're all crying. They're like, Trump's my 401k.
There's no remorse on his face at all.
If he's crushing you, leave the country.
This person took my daughter so violently and so gruesomely and so graphically that they sealed the pictures.
Sheriff, I know you've gotten to know her very well, and you're very impressed by her. Before we get into details,
how the hell do you lose your whole 401k when the market's only down 15%?
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Are you
and
a
Patty
moron
does
or what?
such a wonderful job for a family member who
Either he has
has
a really
had
bad
such a
financial
tragedy
manager, or he's
suffering
buying like the shittiest
at
stocks
the hands of
ever.
criminal illegal
What is he
alien.
doing?
It's this situation.
Like, the
and she
market's
said
only down
it wasn't just a
15%.
homicide. It was
These
horrific.
people crying about
And,
this. These people
she
crying
had to
about this
sit
shit
there
and
through the
never had a
court
stock
process and
market
listen
account
to the
to
graphic
begin
detail
with,
of
or
what this monster
401k.
did to her daughter.
Like, it could be any
And
president.
we
The
have
stock
another
market
case
is
in our
eventually
county.
bound to
Caitlin
go
Hamilton, her
down.
mom Tammy was also interviewed on some of the
Like, that's just
news
how the
places
stock
as well.
market works. It
For some
doesn't matter
reason,
anything
the
about the
same
president.
tragedy, that does not need to happen because we.
The stock market eventually is going to have a recession, or it's going to go down 15%. It goes down 30% once every 5 years.
You willingly work with ICE in the state
If
of
not
Maryland. You've
quicker.
got a state law there, 287G.
So what's the difference? If they can't handle the
that allows
30%
local
drop or the
law enforcement to
15%
cooperate
drop,
with ICE.
they should have been invested in the first place.
It's corrections based.
They should have just bought real estate or something and rented it out.
The Maryland legislature tried to take it away from us this year because The far left has just lost their mind. Prime example of Senator Van Hollen going down there to try to bring a
Hit the like and subscribe button,
United
guys.
States.
If you're new to the channel,
Our
though,
legislature tried to
it's
stop
much
us.
appreciated. I'm on the
Failed,
phone
but
right
we're
now with my
continuing to cooperate
friend,
with ICE
and I'm just
remove
telling them what's
criminal
going on.
aliens from our community, so we don't have more stories like Rachel or Kayla Hamilton.
He's in the 2020
more broken families like you see from
WTX, right? Is that what it's called, Subaru?
Here's Mike
The
Banks,
Fast and
Border
the
Patrol
Furious
chief
whip.
who's in Texas.
WRX, sorry, WRX.
Under this
The STI,
administration, they will
WRX.
take the handcuffs off.
The STI,
and allow us to enforce
WRX.
law instead of policies that
The
will create and
manual.
contradict the law.
The real
So
Fast and the
morale
Furious
has continued to
car.
rise.
All right. Month of March a year ago, 137,473 encounters.
What's
at
the
border.
difference?
This March, 7,181, a decrease of 95%. That goes to the
It's
point
the
that you're talking
Turbo
about.
Rally Edition, WTX.
And, you're in
STI.
the state with the quote-unquote Maryland man that's been in the news. What do you think of his deportation to El Salvador?
Good for my community.
People are crying in
good
the
for my
comments.
state, good for my
They're saying
community, good for this
they're
country.
deporting American
President Trump
citizens. They're
designated
deporting
MS-13.
American
I don't think
citizens.
any police chief or
They
sheriff in
can't
the
name
country
one
who's being
single
honest is
American
not going to say
citizen
it's
that
not a
got
terrorist
deported. One
organization.
American citizen, bro.
That individual has been removed
It's
from our
not
country.
hard to
Who should have
prove
been
you have
removed
an
earlier.
American citizenship.
And
Literally,
we
there's
have,
a million ways
we
you
have
can
the
do
left.
it.
We have Senator Van Hollen, who couldn't even reach out to Patty or Tammy, Kayla's mom, at the tragic taking of the daughters' lives. But he can fly down there on taxpayer dollars to bring a terrorist home to Maryland.
Yeah,
we
just
don't want
to be
that.
clear
We don't
on
want
that,
him in the
like,
country.
you've looked at that case, right? You've looked at the evidence. Are you convinced, as the White House says, he's an MS-13 member?
Oh, 1,000%. Yes, indeed. 1,000%.
No
and
doubt.
not only that, he's no doubt. And he's a domestic violence abuser.
He's probably pissed that he
in
lost
his community, we would
401k
screen
money.
him working with ICE, and hopefully they would decide to take removal proceedings for just that reason. And he's been through removal proceedings before, and they asked for him to be removed, and yet he was still here.
They're panicking,
So,
they're crying.
kudos on the Trump administration for removing a criminal.
Hopefully every single person crying about their
on Senator Van Hollen for
401ks
wanting to bring
can
him back.
pull all their money out and make the market drop even lower. That way we can buy more.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey,
When we
click
get
here
the
to
opportunity
subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will.
Well, that was a compelling analysis, guys, wasn't it? If you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button. Let's see if anyone's here on Kick.com. Is anyone watching on Kick.com? We got a couple viewers on Kick.com. But guys, go subscribe to me. Euro and Travel on Kick.com. Our channel's just getting started here. Much appreciated. We got 111 people on YouTube watching. That man, Ralph. Here, let's play some Trump. We got to play some liberal stuff that'll really make the liberals cry. Get some of those liberal tears juicing and flowing. Oh, this will really piss them off.
Let's talk about the big, beautiful bill. We know it's about 2/3 of the way there.
Oh, Judge Grady just made a thing talking about how he's going to go after the illegals in Florida.
In 2017, when Donald Trump was president the first time, they weren't touched during the Biden years, but man, did he benefit.
They're going to cry so hard over these ones.
Just how much the Trump tax reform have saved everyday Americans.
Oh, my friend hung up.
Tens of millions of fires have saved thousands of dollars because of the reform law, savings that are now at risk if they fail to extend the tax cuts. And of course, they had things like no tax on tips and Social Security. But look at these numbers, guys.
Yeah, the tax cuts expire at the end of the year, and these were implemented in Trump's first term. So from 2018 to 2024, if you made 50 to 75,000, you saved 6,300. If you made 75 to 100,000, you saved 8,300. If you made 100 to 200, you saved 13,500.
So that money goes into the economy in theory.
But don't you think releasing data like this goes against everything what the mainstream media,
It
as
makes
well
the liberals
as a lot
cry
of the progressives are
because
saying,
they
which
make
is
$0
the tax
a year, so they don't
cut only
save
for the rich.
anything.
When you look at the numbers, that's just not true. And the American people felt that.
One of the things that I was looking forward to so much was the decrease in the corporate tax rate, because you don't want to demand that companies come back. We don't do that.
Yeah.
But we want to make it a place where you can tell your shareholders it's in our interest to bring our country back manufacturing here.
Good
Now,
old
tariffs,
Elon Musk
and number
is
two,
my
because it's now at 21%.
hero.
And it was the highest. Now
So
it's
many
right in the
traitors
middle.
to our
He
country
wants to
in the
drop it
chat.
to 15% to incentivize people
Thank
coming
you.
back. But why does Ireland have so many pharmaceuticals? They knocked it down to virtually zero.
Yeah.
So now it makes sense to bring your company to Ireland.
Right.
And actually, I was listening to Rob Lowe the other day. They shoot
Elon
his show on the
rocks.
floor in Ireland because there's so many tax breaks to bring companies
Kick.com,
there
guys.
and to bring production
Kick.com.
there.
Link is in my bio.
And this
Go
goes to the
subscribe
point,
there.
that you were, I
But then
think,
they
making
came
as
the
well.
pandemic and it stopped
Exactly.
everything.
No,
But
sir. You
there's
said that's a
also-
load of crap. I just told you. You made $0 in the last 4 years. So look.
Let's talk about the big
Let's
beautiful
show you
bill.
again.
We know it's about 2/3 of the way there, and there's got to be more agreement.
Let's skip to the good part.
And these were implemented in
The tax
Trump's first
savings.
term. So from 2018 to 2024, if you made 50 to 75,000, you saved 6,300. If you made 75 to 100,000, you saved 8,300. If you made 100 to 200, you saved 13,500.
So that money goes into the economy.
Don't you think releasing data like this goes against everything what the mainstream media, as well as a lot of the progressives, are saying, which is the tax cut was only for the rich? When you look at the numbers, that's just not true. And the American people felt that.
One of the things that I was looking forward to so much was the decrease in the corporate tax rate, because you don't want to demand that companies come back. We don't do that. But we want to
$50,000 a
make
year
it
is
a
cutting
place where you
taxes
can
for the
tell your
rich?
shareholders
Are
it's
you
in our
jobless
interest
or
to bring
something?
our country back manufacturing here. Now for tariffs, and number two, because it's now at 21%, and it was the
My
highest.
favorite
Now it's
African
right in the
American is
middle.
Elon
He
Musk.
wants to drop it to 15% to incentivize people coming back. But why does Ireland have so many pharmaceuticals? They knocked it down to virtually zero.
Yeah.
So now it makes sense to bring your company to Ireland. And actually,
It's okay.
I was
Damon has
listening to
never
Rob
made
Lowe the other day.
$10,000
They
in a
shoot
month
his show
off
the
any
floor in
income,
Ireland because there's so many tax
much less
breaks
an
to bring
investment. He's never
companies
made
there and to bring
in his
production
life.
there.
Well, and this goes to the point.
Not even in
that you were-
GTA 5,
that
not
you
even
were-
in a video game.
Exactly. But there's also some
He hasn't
talk
made
on the Capitol, and I
$10,000
hope
all
the
year,
Republicans
much
don't
less
get
in a
behind
month.
this, of not giving the corporate tax rate quite a cut this go around. So some people in the administration have said that's not true, that this is the early stages, but that can't happen. That was a campaign promise that everybody was, including the businesses.
Damon,
And
when you
gotta
make
balance it out
$15,000
with
or
the incentives as well. Some of
$20,000
these
in a
companies
month,
are gonna
come
be
back
hit
and
hard
talk to me.
in these first couple of years. You got to give them a break.
And some of these states give breaks to companies. Hey, you come to my state.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, exactly. No taxes. Or if you come to my state, fewer taxes than most companies, to try to get these big businesses to move into their areas.
That's why certain people, even network anchors, move to Florida.
Of course.
Because of the zero tax rate. I don't know anybody in particular, but I'm just saying generic.
How about all of prime time?
Right.
Every single person on the rundown except for Jesse, and he can't because he has the 5.
Right. Also, but theoretically, we
Right.
want to use
Oh,
it.
right.
But I would say this: the shortstop, he used to be a shortstop of the Yankees, goes by the name Derek Jeter. He would not have his residence in New York, even though he's making $20 million. He said, out of principle, I don't want you just taking 2/3 of my
Like
money.
Letitia
Rush
James,
Limbaugh.
her residence is in Virginia.
Yeah, she lives in Virginia. It works out better. And she married her dad, and then got those legal forms. Remember that. But it's okay. It's on the up and up. Letitia James, yeah, and she's having a fundraiser, $18,000 a plate for her legal fees now. Do you believe that?
It's unbelievable.
Right.
Only a filing error.
We're doing the weave. We're doing the president's weave.
We're bringing it back and forth.
Whatever
Now
happens.
let's bring it back to some headlines.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley
I
Earhart.
like your comment, but I think there's more than 15 million illegal immigrants. I think there's about 22 to 30 million. That may sound a little bit high, but I think that number is accurate, to be quite frank. But yeah, we'll see what else we got going on. The leader of Italy pledges to make it great, just like America. Oh wait, this is the video I wanted to play next.
Us out live to Polk County, Florida, as we're hearing from a sheriff Grady Jarrett on the arrest of a group of undocumented immigrants.
investigation that was led by my organized retail crime team. And this investigation began in October of last year. And it involved...
If a loser is the richest man in the world, then I want to be a loser too.
A very violent Venezuelan gang. This gang originated out of the prisons in Venezuela.
Shout out Polk
County.
County.
In the United States as an organized, not only an organized gang, but they're also recognized as an organized terrorist organization. Now, you watch the national news and you think, oh, that's something that happens someplace else. But I can tell you that this violent gang was alive and well in Central Florida. And I want to show you, this is Alexis Benavides, and I'm going to introduce him to you in a minute. This is his gun. I want to tell you that these folks came across the border illegally. I want to give you details. This started with 32 cases that we worked, and there were 4 cases worked by other agencies. And it was with them stealing high-end liquor. But it started out something as minor as grabbing beer at convenience stores, and it elevated to robbery. And then not only was there a robbery here, but we worked with Osceola County because during the process of this in Osceola County, they committed robbery with a firearm. It's a violent group. So how did we come into contact with these folks? Through Public's Organized Retail Crime Investigation Unit, who noticed a trend of people stealing high-end liquor from them. And during the process of us investigating this, we determined that they were also stealing from Sam's and Walmart, the same trend. We also learned that other agencies had made 4 arrests along the way. And I really want to underscore and highlight the Lakeland Police Department, because when they went to Sam's in the city of Lakeland to steal, they actually robbed the clerk, injuring her hand. They had loaded this high-end liquor into a basket and were trying to leave with it. She tried to stop them. They literally ran into her, injured her hand, and fled. The Lakeland Police Department immediately started an investigation, learned when they fled, they damaged their vehicle, which ended up in a crash, and then they scattered like rats on a sinking ship. They ultimately got an Uber and fled. Lakeland Police Department had suspects, and they were onto this case. They worked hand in glove with us. We explained to them
if you love Grady, smash the subscribe button
as well, and they wanted to make sure that not only did they have a successful arrest, but that they worked with us so that we could wrap up this entire organization. But I want to stop just a minute. It's not just the Lakeland Police Department and the Sheriff's Office. It's DHS. They were involved in this investigation. The Orange and Osceola Sheriff's Office was involved in this investigation. Florida Department of Law Enforcement was involved in this investigation. The U.S. Marshals Task Force was involved in this investigation. I put holes on all of these folks, and I'm going to talk in detail about that in just a few minutes. The statewide prosecutor is working
Maria,
with us,
and I agree. No arguing is for losers. Instead, we deport them immediately.
Because we're seeking to file not only
Trump is king
retail
now.
theft charges, not only
I'm just joking, but it's funny to rage bait
we're
you guys and make you pissed by saying that.
File racketeering charges, which is a 30-year minimum mandatory. We couldn't do that without the cooperation of first our state attorney's office and ultimately
Kick.com.
Our Florida statewide prosecutors, who works under James Uthmeyer, our attorney general. So when you look at this
If that's true,
investigation, you
Phil,
look
that's
at all these
horrible. But I don't know if that's
investigations,
true,
no
my
one
boy Phil.
agency does this. So I want to underscore and recognize
I don't know you
each
at
of
all,
them.
though, but
Osceola, Orange, when we were picking up 3 of the 5, 2 were already in custody in Osceola County, by the way, for a robbery. They sent teams of people out to help us with surveillance and with entry to make sure that we had sufficient help to do this appropriately, because these folks are violent and they're dangerous. But once again, I want to introduce you to the different individuals that you see here. And I'll start with Samuel Charlie. He's 25. He is a documented member of this gang We have designated him as a terrorist federally. He has a criminal history in this country. We don't know about his criminal history in Venezuela. He came here through El Paso in 2023.
Name one single legal citizen that's been deported. Name them.
It was wide open. It was not difficult.
It's not hard to prove citizenship, buddy.
Operations.
They can look your name up in 2 seconds and figure out if you're legal or if you're illegal. Any local sheriff.
People are working in the United States, but they're living high. So what does that tell you? They're committing crime. They came here illegally.
It's all in the FBI database. You either came here legally or you didn't.
They're robbing and stealing.
The FBI can tell right away if you were born in the country or if you're not.
And at the end of the day, we didn't have to search far for him, because he was already in the Osceola County Jail, charged with a robbery that occurred during the period of time we were investigating this organized retail theft group. Then there was Ramon Luna. He's 26. He is an associate. So why do we call him an associate? Because he has not been certified yet, but he's running with these gang members. When we finish our investigations and we finish working with the feds, we anticipate that all of these folks will be documented as gang members. Only 2 are, but he's an associate of theirs now.
Under King Trump, nobody will get due process. You're either a citizen in the FBI database or you're not.
The same month.
And you'll get deported.
2023.
Hit the like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We're going to be live on kick.com a lot. Kick.com/Euro&Travel.
Of them partying. They've got time to steal. They've got time to rob. They've got time to party in this country. All while they're here illegally. All while they were allowed to just walk into this country. Then there's Aldemaro Mendoza. He's 26.
Look at these guys. Why are they smiling in their mugshots? Are they brain dead or something? Especially this guy. I just want to beat the living crap out of him.
Detroit Tiger minor league prospect.
This guy is the only one out of the 5 that took the arrest seriously.
Make it to the minor leagues.
It's like, oh, we're going back to our country. We'll walk back across the border again. No biggie.
So while he had a
not under Trump, you won't. We got tanks on the border now.
He failed to deport. Now listen, 2016 to 2025. Okay, I'm not real good at math, but that's about 9 years, right? The federal government has him in deportation procedures, but in 9 years, they can't get him out of here? Come on, man.
Come on, man.
If you don't think the federal immigration system is messed up, here's your sign. All the while, he wasn't hard to find because he was in the Osceola jail for robbery. That's right. Charlie and Mendoza together robbed a person at gunpoint in Osceola County. Neither of which should have been here.
I feel bad for the victims. I wish they would have tried to rob me like that in Florida, some illegal immigrants. Because I can handle it. Most citizens can't.
At El Paso. There was a warrant for removal for him.
I don't care if
But
there's
despite
5 of
that
them. All I
warrant
need is
for
5 bullets.
removal, he was here wandering around, committing robberies, committing organized theft, partying. We also know that he was in Aurora, Colorado at the time of the takeover of the apartments. We cannot, and I underscore, we cannot tie him directly to the TDA that was doing the takeover, but he was there during that time period, and he was an associate, and he's running with them. He's also showed up in other areas of the country.
That is freaking hilarious, King. I hope you hit the subscribe button. That comment is hilarious.
Of course, none of them are employed, because why bother working when you can come here illegally?
Ellard, more like retard. Can't spell illegals.
Then there's Alexis.
Hit the like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel.
He's a documented TDA member. He's also, I might highlight, currently a suspect in a murder in New Mexico. But he's
hit
also
the subscribe button for the boy Grady.
Thinks you ought to protect illegal immigrants. Maybe there are other suspected murderers in Illinois they want to protect. I mean, just think it out loud. He's supposed to be
Joshua, you're a moron. I don't really believe anything you say, but if you got proof, I would love to play a YouTube video of it.
I said, is he a leader? Is he a boss? No, he's just well respected and higher up in the organization. So when did he come across? August 2023 at El Paso once again. So while he's got a criminal history in Illinois, we don't know what their criminal histories are out of the country, but he's pending a federal warrant for removal. So at the end of this operation, we have these 5 people who are in this country illegally. And not only are they in this country illegally, they're not working, they're not pretending to work, but they're stealing. One of my detectives, and by the way, my detectives are the very best, and this is just one more example of their brilliant work and their relationships with other federal, state, and local law enforcement and prosecuting groups, said they continued as the investigation went on and we tried to tie them together. They continued to become more violent and more violent and more violent. Now we know there should be one map here that shows the state of Florida and the different areas. So regardless, we don't know what all they did in Illinois. We don't know what all they did for sure in New Mexico. But what we do know is the whole time they're here, they're committing crime. And that is just one more example of that. So I want to share something with you. I want to share, Ramon Luna, you see some of them are smiling here. But I want to focus another picture of Ramon Luna. You see, it's not such a happy time. Life as he knew it is over. Is he crying because he can't steal from Americans anymore? Is he crying because he can't rob people in the middle of the night anymore? Is he crying because he can't rip off high-end liquor? This is the end of the road for him and his companions. I hope he has his traveling clothes on, because we want to charge them with racketeering and send them to state prison for a very long time and then deport them. Now, some would say, why don't you just deport them and not spend any more taxpayers' money on them? Well, first off, if you deport them, there's no guarantee that they won't try to find their way back. And there's no guarantee that we won't be dealing with them again in murder, robbery, or theft, just as they make their way here. So he's going to be locked up for a long time. We know that 4 of the 5 of these folks came across during the Biden era of totally open borders. You've heard me stand here before and say we don't have a broken immigration policy or a border policy.
Everyone go to my Kick channel and subscribe. Kick.com/Euro and Travel.
That are coming across. At one point in time, this rascal got on his hands and knees after we arrested him, and he was begging. He's not so bad. Now look, here's the guns they like to carry as they torment people in the street. But he's not such a big bad guy when he's locked up. Maybe he's having visions of El Salvador prisons at some point in time in his future. We know that sometimes 2 of them, sometimes 4 of them, sometimes all 5 of them did these grabs at the same time as they would enter and rob and steal. We know 2 of them, as I said, robbed at gunpoint. But they're not smiling anymore, you see? They're crying. They were smiling during the Trump era. I mean, during the Biden era. They were smiling when they came across. I think we have a picture, another picture of that, too, of some of their smiling and their partying. You see, they came across illegally. They were stealing. They were partying. They weren't working. They weren't adding anything to this country. And then you see how cool they are as they sent their pictures back to their buddies in Venezuela and how they bragged about being here. And at the end of the day, they thought it was real cool. We're bad dudes. And they're playing people for a fool. I like to think about, who is it, Van Hollen, that just went to visit this illegal in prison, okay? Well, let me tell you something, Senator Van Hollen. You come here to visit these guys, you'll be talking to them through a glass. There won't be any handshaking. There won't be any politicking. These are criminals, and they're dangerous. And when are we going to figure it out as a nation? These people don't belong here. I'm thankful that President Trump said enough is enough. I'm thankful that, when he came here, all of those smiles.
Hit the like and subscribe button.
They know it's coming. We were out arresting people. Right now, I think today I have about 70 or 72 on ICE holes in the county jail. Make no mistake about it. You come here illegally, we bump into you, we're going to enforce the law. We're going to notify ICE.
Thank you, Nathan.
We also,
thank you.
Because of the leadership of Governor Ron DeSantis and our legislature with current legislation where they provided enhancements, we have enhanced all the levels of those we have charged. So thank you, Governor DeSantis. Thank you, Florida legislature. Ben Albritton, our president of the Senate. Daniel Perez, our Speaker of the House. Thank you all for giving us the tools to keep the people of Florida safe. So my last editorial comment. For those of you across the nation that think this is okay, why don't you find you some violent gang members that we have also designated as terrorists and take them into your home.
You lost 18K. Too bad. You would have been able to transition.
Let them drive your car. Illegally, by the way. Let them live with you, because when you ignore these people and you think it's okay for them to be in this country, they are tormenting and terrorizing and stealing and robbing and murdering people.
Stealing, robbing, and murdering. How do you feel?
Garcia remains in prison this morning.
He remains in prison. Cry about it.
Supreme Court orders to facilitate his return to the U.S. This, as NBC News has learned of plans by the administration to resume using the Alien Enemies Act to deport migrants as early as today. Let's bring in right now the border czar for the Trump administration, Tom Homan. Mr. Homan, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Smash the like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and everyone go subscribe to the new Kick account. That's where we're mostly going to be live streaming from now on. Kick.com/Euro and Travel. Also, link in my bio. Thank you.
Just wanted to ask you about that NBC report that the administration is thinking about using the Alien and Enemies Act again, and may use it as early as today. Can you report? Can you either confirm that or deny that report?
We're discussing it. It's a tool in the toolbox. It's a useful tool. I mean, the President Trump can choose to invoke the authorities he has under Alien and Enemies Act, the act created by Congress, against those who are enemies of the United States. So, yeah, it's a tool in the tool shed, and it's still on the table. Absolutely.
As you know, the court ruled, Brett Kavanaugh wrote for the court 9-0 that in future deportations, that he basically echoed what Scalia had said earlier, and that is anybody that's in America that's going to be deported needs to receive notice first, and then they need to have a hearing before a judge. Is that a ruling that the administration and you specifically will be following?
Well, we're not talking about Americans. We're talking about illegal aliens. But President Trump has been clear. We'll follow the decision by the Supreme Court.
Right, and again, the protections do extend, according to the Supreme Court, Scalia, others, to illegal immigrants. In the Abrego case, we've had many conservatives, of course, come out being very critical of it. But again, we've also had the court rule 9-0 that.
Great question. What kind of content is my channel? This is political live streams, political talks, political debates, different stuff like that. Hit the like and subscribe button. It's also a lot of travel content. I'm an American citizen traveling abroad and living in many different countries. So please check out the channel. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button.
The administration should facilitate Abrego Garcia's return. I know you've said you're not a lawyer. You're not in the Justice Department, basically not your job. But the administration's admitted it's a mistake. All parties have admitted it's a mistake. Do you admit that it's a mistake? And is this something that should not happen again?
Look, I don't agree with the term that was a mistake. I mean, I know that was put out in the beginning, but looking at this case, there's a couple of things in play here. First of all, it's a mistake.
50 years old, calling people's names. You're timed out. Timed out. No inappropriate comments like Joe Biden and his son loving kids will be allowed on my channel. Go put that on Joe Biden's Facebook or something, not on here.
Of a specific gang in El Salvador. That gang don't exist anymore in El Salvador. Matter of fact, El Salvador is one of the safest nations in the region now because of the actions of President Bukele. So the facts surrounding that decision have changed, and we believe that the withholding order is set aside now that he's a terrorist because it doesn't pertain to those designated terrorists. He is a member of MS-13. 2 federal judges have decided that. We have a police department who documented that. ICE intelligence has documented that. The El Salvadorian government says he's an MS-13 gang member who has since been designated as a terrorist. So the entire condition around that decision have changed. The facts have changed. So we don't think the withholding is in play anymore.
Well, the courts originally thought he may be a terrorist, and federal judge said so. But of course, as I'm sure you know, the informants, the testimony was conflicting, and in fact, even the detective was suspended. That was a part of that, and the courts let him go. And the Trump administration didn't fight that order because there was no evidence ultimately to keep him in prison because he committed any crimes. And then again, he got this special protective order. He checked in regularly with his immigration officers, did that all the way through January of this year. So I guess what I'm curious about is what's changed the circumstances from 2019 when the Trump administration agreed with the court, didn't appeal it, and let him be released back to his family and gave him this special protective status?
Well, again, he's been designated an MS-13 member by 2 federal judges, a police department, intelligence from ICE, and the El Salvadoran government themselves. Okay, he's a citizen and national of the country of El Salvador. He has an order of deportation issued by a judge. So let's say he was to come back. He's going to be detained and deported because he has an order of deportation. He's either going to be deported to El Salvador or another country. But what you asked, what has changed, the facts that have changed is that he is a designated MS-13 member who is now designated as a member of a terrorist organization where the withholding no longer applies, at least in our opinion. Now, I'll let DOJ fight that out. I'm not an attorney. I'll let the Department of Justice fight it out. But that is a stance that I believe we are right now, and we'll continue to litigate it. But I think we removed the bad guy from this country who is down at home in the custody of his country. And this country has to make the decision to release him. I mean, there's certain steps can be taken through an extradition, whatever. But right now, we think we made the right steps, and we think we get bad guy and remove him from the United States, and now he's home.
Right. So for viewers that are watching, what the order said was back in 2019 that he could be deported, but he could not be deported to El Salvador. So the procedure would be if he came back to the United States and then be deported. If he were deported to the Netherlands, or if he were deported to Honduras, any country but El Salvador, the courts would rule that to be legal. I want Mr. Holman. Let's move on.
El Salvador is not off the table. Again, the situation about the withholding of El Salvador, that situation has totally changed. The gang he feared doesn't exist anymore in El Salvador. So the dangers or the basis for the withholding no longer exist, and that's where we're saying not only do those dangers no longer exist, he is also designated terrorist organization doesn't apply.
Right, and of course those are, as you've said, you're not a lawyer, you're going to let the Justice Department speak for it, but that is the issue I suspect we're going to see courts fighting about in the coming weeks and months about his return, if he is in fact returned, if he goes somewhere other than El Salvador. I want to ask you just generally about deportation. You worked, I'm sure this will surprise a lot of viewers, you worked for President Obama. President Obama actually gave you a presidential award. President Obama, of course, many people might remember, was criticized for being a deporter-in-chief. I got a number here. There are over 2.5 million deportations under the Obama administration. I wanted to ask you, as this administration, I think Trump administration deported 1 million during the first term. You're trying to reach some goals that I think especially with funding cuts are going to be really hard to reach. I'm wondering, is there the possibility of this administration encouraging self-deportation? Obviously, there are a lot of people, illegal immigrants, who are very scared, would probably like to be given the opportunity to return to their homes without ending up in maximum security prisons. Is this something, as borders are, that you and the administration is trying to work through? Because that obviously would be a lot cheaper, I think a lot better for everybody. Is that something that you all are considering?
Well, we're working the CBP One app is now the CBP Home app. We hope people take advantage of it, especially those who are in the United States who don't have an order of deportation yet. Because if we have to go through the process of going through the courts, getting an order of deportation, and we have to find you and remove you, then you have a bar from re-entering. So we want people, if you're in the country, go home, do things the right way. Then you don't have that bar placed against you. So if you have a U.S. citizen child, he can petition for you. If you want to come in on a work visa or visitor's visa or come in some sort of, some sort of other status, maybe as a student, come into the country the right way, that leaves that ability open for you. But if you get formally deported, there's an automatic bar set against you. So people take advantage of it. And President Trump has said before,
people, depending on the situation, depending on what job series it is, he's looking at ways of bringing people back to the United States the right way. What I like about that, when they come in the right way, they're not giving their life savings to the criminal cartel to come across a river or go through a desert. Less aliens would die. And Border Patrol will be 100% vigilant online rather than dealing with the humanitarian crisis that the Biden administration created, where Border Patrol's off the line, taking care of this humanitarian crisis, whether it's preparing food, making hospital runs and everything. And when you take Border Patrol agents off the line during an illegal crisis like that, that's when the fentanyl comes across, kill 250,000 Americans. That's when sex trafficking women and children went up 600%. That's when a record number of people on terrorist watch lists comes across an unguarded border. So doing things the right way keeps Border Patrol on the job, vigilant 100% of the time, and let people come through the right way to the port of entry. That's what President Trump's aiming for.
So walk me through the process, if you will. So if you're an illegal immigrant and you're in America, let's say you have a child that was born here, and you're very scared, rightfully, by a lot of things that you're seeing on television. What are the steps that you take to voluntarily self-deport and then go back to your home country and then apply to come here legally?
You go to CBP Home app, you apply through the CBP Home app. Most have access, just about all of them have, cell phones. They came across the border with cell phones. They know the CBP One app because millions came across at the border, and hundreds of thousands of them came through the CBP One app. So you just go through the CBP One app. If you can't, you go to an ICE office and turn yourself to an ICE office. That brain's just paid to go home. There's a lot of ways to self-remove, and the government is willing to help you. But if you're in the country legally, you should be concerned. It's not okay to be in the country illegally. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. It is a crime. So make it right. Turn yourself in either through the CBP One Home app or go to an ICE office, an Immigration Customs Enforcement office, and make arrangements for your return. That way you can put your affairs in order and go home the right way. And, you can, certainly take advantage of the numerous ways to come back to the country legally. But it's not okay to enter this country legally. It is a crime. And so if you're in the country legally, you should not be safe and secure and comfortable being in a country.
I still don't understand. How do you truly believe he wasn't
in another country illegally?
Let me stop it for a second. I still don't understand. How do you truly believe this man wasn't in a gang? Like El Salvador said he was in a gang. The United States government said he was in a gang. Is he not in a gang because CNN said he wasn't, or who told you he wasn't in a gang? That's all I want to know.
Really make it right. Give yourself some opportunities in the future to come to the greatest nation on earth.
And if they do that, if they go to the app or they go to ICE officials, are you guaranteeing that if they want to self-deport and do it the right way, as you say, that they will be treated humanely and be allowed to go back to their homeland in a humane manner?
We treat all people humanely. I know you got a lot of bad stories.
A lot of people disagree.
But look, I've been doing this. I've been doing this since 1984. We do things humanely. We're the most giving nation in the world. We welcome more people to this country, refugees, than any other nation in the world. This is a very giving nation, and I've been in this business since 1984, and we do everything humanely.
Well, I think, Mr. Holman, I've always said America's fed and freed more people across the world than any country that's ever existed. We're a city, like Reagan said, that shines brightly on the hill for all the world to see. I think, though, people are seeing some of the situations, especially with what's happened with people being pulled off the streets and sent down to a maximum security prison in El Salvador without any due process.
But you know, Joe,
if you let me finish, and then I'll let you finish. That strikes a lot of Americans as being un-American, and that even people like myself that's been talking about the need for strong borders for 30 years. I think a lot of conservatives, and I can read you quotes from a lot of conservatives here, who say they want gang members out, they want violent members out, but there's a right way to do it And there's a wrong way to do it. And a lot of people believe that what we've seen over the past 3 months is the wrong way to do it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, look, the American people voted for this. American people voted for Donald Trump. This is number one issue. The vast majority of Americans want illegal aliens moved from this country. And it's done humanely. However, we got to remember this. There are millions of people standing in line, taking their tests, doing their background investigation, paying their fees to be part of the greatest nation on earth. They're sitting in the back seat. Well, 10.5 million illegal aliens came to this border, entered this country illegally, which is a violation of law. There's right way and right way to come to this country legally. The people who came across, they call them asylum seekers, but you and I both know, if you look at the immigration court data, 9 out of 10 of those so-called asylum seekers will end up with an order removal. They overwhelm the system on purpose. Why? Because they know it's going to take 5, 7, 9 years to have a hearing, which they will lose, but now they have U.S. citizen kids. Now they own equities. Now there may be Democratic administration in power, which will award amnesty. They're playing the long game, but we're enforcing laws as enacted by Congress, which you remember we're not making this up. We're enforcing laws on the books, including the Alien Enemies Act, which is an act created by Congress. We're simply using laws on the books to make this country safe again.
Damn right.
Well, and you know, it's interesting. One of the arguments you made, I would make all the time when I was in Congress. I would have people, whether they were from Pakistan or Lithuania, wherever they were from, they would come to the United States, or they'd want to come to the United States, and they would stand in line, and it would be a very long line. And I always thought it was unfair that they stood and waited in line while other people were able to just come across the border. So, again, I think we agree on that point. What I'm asking you, though, is whether the administration can do this in a way that is consistent with the United States Constitution and with what 9 members of the United States Supreme Court said, which is you cannot remove somebody that is here, even illegally, if they are in America, without giving them notice and without giving them due process before a judge. Is that something that you've been instructed to do moving forward? Because 9 members of the Supreme Court say that everybody deserves that opportunity in America.
We are using the laws on the books, the existing laws, to secure this border and to remove people who are illegally with a priority on public safety threats and national security threats. We're not making this up. We're following the law, unlike the last administration who ignored the law, who actually violated the law of bringing 100,000 people, giving them parole status, the misuse of the parole statute, as you're well aware. There wasn't a case-by-case analysis of the hundreds of thousands they paroled in this country illegally. But now all of a sudden, they want a vetting process for deportation. There's no vetting process for the hundreds of thousands, actually millions of people they release in the country. No vetting process at all. But now they expect a vetting process for those who've seen an immigration judge, been ordered removed, and all of a sudden they want even more of a vetting process for those deported. It's ridiculous how the left has changed the story from releasing millions into the United States to now they got a court order to deport them. Now we got to do after steps, giving extra vetting, the vetting they didn't get when they came in. It's just ridiculous.
Well, again, I don't know that it's.
But we will follow the law. We'll use the laws on the books to enforce the law. We're going to use existing laws, Joe.
Okay, so yeah, I was just going to say, I don't think it's ridiculous that the Supreme Court says what they say, but my follow-up question was going to be what you just said. Do you commit to following the law, following what the Supreme Court says? And we've heard the President of the United States say several times in the Oval Office that he will follow the law and what the courts say. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir, we will.
Okay. Let me ask you, you had said, just circle back, just a fact check here. You had said that the Biden administration worked illegally to get illegal immigrants in America. Did they violate a court order doing that?
He's not a citizen.
What do you mean by that?
I think they violated the parole statute. The parole statute says you impose somebody on a case-by-case basis, based on the
my mom, I said goodbye for good.
The specifics.
She came here illegally. I was born
President
here.
Biden
That's
stood on
hilarious.
stage and says, I'm bringing 30,000 a month in through CHMV, Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, Venezuela. I'm bringing 30,000 a month in. Where's the case-by-case analysis on that? It's required under the pro statute. He just
Hit the like and
brought
subscribe
in,
button
matter of
if you
fact,
guys
a lot
are
of the
new,
Venezuelans he brought in through the CHNV weren't even in Venezuela. They were living in Ecuador. So there wasn't a case-by-case analysis of these people are really escaping fear and persecution from the homeland. They're coming to the United States for a better life, and I get that. But it's not asylum. They're not escaping fear and persecution of their homeland, especially if they're not in the homeland.
But I'm not aware. Did they defy any court orders on that issue?
The fifth district court said not only they're ignoring the law, they believe they're actually violating the law. They weren't doing a case-by-case analysis on parole. They the end administration said, "Oh, we got the border numbers down." No, they didn't. They created the CHNV bucket. They created the CBP-1 Act. The same illegal aliens south of the border, they put in 3 different buckets. They put a CHNV program, then they created a CBP-1 Act. They call legal pathways, which they weren't. So they simply said, okay, we'll put thousands in the CHNV, we'll put thousands in the CBP-1 Act, then we can say the border's numbers are down because we're only going to count those entering between the ports of entry. It was a shell game.
Right.
And I think what you see in the Trump administration, President Trump was able to do in 7 weeks what the Biden administration couldn't or wouldn't do in 4 years. Actually have the most secure border in my lifetime. Right now, the data shows right now, as you and I are talking, we have the most secure border in the history of this nation today because of President Trump.
And you're saying that can be done following the law, and you will follow whatever the Supreme Court rules on in the coming weeks and months, right?
You know, one of the biggest things, Joe, for following the law of securing the border, we ended catch and release. You know, the statute says if you come to our border without proper documentation, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it. And that's what we did. We ended catch and release. So look, and look at the success on border. And when border crossings are down 95%, let me end with this, because I've been doing this since 1984. When 95% less people are coming across that border illegally, how many women aren't being sexually assaulted? How many children aren't dying? How many pounds of fentanyl are coming across to kill Americans?
I agree with you. I agree with you, Mr. Holman, as far as how the border was in chaos and has been in chaos for way too long. I agree with all of that. My question to you was whether the Trump administration and whether you can and will do it. I'll just finish again with the question, whether you'll do it following judicial orders, following, as you said, the law, and following whatever Supreme Court decisions are handed down in the coming weeks and months.
We will follow the law.
All right. Border Czar Tom Holman, thank you so much. I hope that you and your family have a blessed Easter weekend. And
everyone, hope you're going to have a blessed Easter weekend. Even if we politically agree or not, it really doesn't matter. Hit the like and subscribe button. I'm going to play the special playlist now while I do what I gotta do. But hit the like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Trump 2028! Alright, I'm gonna play the playlist I put together now. Hold on. Let's check out kick.com. How are we doing on there? Everyone go to kick.com/Euro and travel. All right, back to the playlist now. Playlists. Here we go. Let's start with this video. We can talk about Carmelo Anthony.
Tweet ain't tapping in. Anybody who me, my music, we got to Carmelo Anthony, man. Justice for my dog. Website coming soon. We got to tap in, man.
Yeah. I hope that black people understand this. When you are out here making a merch site, doing a GoFundMe for a kid that killed somebody, and won't do a merch site and a GoFundMe for a kid that was killed by somebody, you headed down the wrong mother freaking path. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you about Masa chips. This is my favorite chip, but obviously we got the bag that you can see right through it. But Masa chips, an incredible chip. I love it. We have bags and bags and bags of these at the house. This so happened to be the lime version, which is one of my favorites because this has a lot of flavor. The Cabanero, which is a spicy one, that's one of my favorites as well. I can't find a flavor of this chip that is not incredibly good. And why is it so good? Because it's healthy. These are the chips that you can eat with nachos and all the kind of stuff that make sure you eat them with good nachos and real cheese. That you can binge on it and not have to worry about it causing you all kinds of other health concerns because they're putting seed oils in it. This is basic stuff, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at the back ingredients, is organic corn, 100% grass-fed beef tallow, sea salt, and lime. Go to the grocery store right now and you find me a bag of chips that taste this good that only have 4 or 5 ingredients in it. You ain't gonna find it.
All right. Enough
that I love,
advertising,
and the
big
reason
man.
why I love Masa chips and Hook and just say all this stuff is true. I don't know. I can't verify what their situation is. I just know it's rumored, and these rumors don't look good for them. That they got this GoFundMe money, which, to be honest, the judge didn't have to lower the bond amount because they got $500,000, which would probably be enough collateral to take care of the bond, to bond him out. So they have the means to accomplish the $1 million bond. So for them dropping the bond to $250,000 was extremely low and unnecessary. Let's move forward. We see that they raised $500,000. It's going to go up more and more. We get closer to the trial. And if he takes this to trial, it's probably going to get more and more. There's going to be more and more money coming in because the people of the Maryland are silly as a mother. I bet you $1 million. Most of the people that funded this are black.
Anthony's family. This is BLM. This is what the black community does. This is what our pastors do. This is what they do, right? And so the family of Carmelo Anthony are still raising money. They got the bond reduced to $200,000, kept the rest of the money, moved into a mansion, right? So if you are so-called threats, why do you have to move in an $800,000 a year house? A house worth $800,000 because it's Black Lives Matter all over again. Remember how Black Lives Matter stole all the money from the black community, raised over $50 million, and then disappeared, and they were investigated for fraud and exposed by Candace Owens? Well, that's exactly what his family is doing off the backs of dumb ignorant black people who are full of racism, hate, and are so blinded by that they're willing to send money to a cause that they shouldn't be sending money to. It's BLM all over again.
And I'm telling you this, and I said it 100 times in a row. If Carmelo Anthony would have did this to another black kid, neither one of them would have got a GoFundMe. None of them. They wouldn't have supported Carmelo Anthony, and they definitely wouldn't have supported the person who died. Nobody got a GoFundMe. You want to bet me? Find me a GoFundMe where a black kid stabbed another black kid, or a black kid killed another black kid. They'll break a GoFundMe record if they GoFundMe all these young brothers that get killed by other brothers. It will never happen. These silly people of the melanin that are secretly racist and they hate white people. Go look at the GoFundMe link. Go look at his GoFundMe comments. What are they saying? They hate white people. They glad he did this. This is revenge. Let me explain this to you because this is how I used to think. When they see a white kid, when you black in America and you grew up in the hood or you grew up anywhere in a prominent black neighborhood, most of the time, not all the time, people different. Most of the time, you have an underlying hatred towards white people. Therefore, when something happened to a white person, your whole mindset is, they did this to us, that's what they get. We used to be slaves. I don't care what happened to white people. They beat us, so when one of us killed them unjustifiably, it don't matter because they kill us all the time unjustifiably. So we kill one of them unjustifiably, what's the problem? They privileged. They got it anyway. The white man always got this. Look at the vitriolic theology of, I would say, the average black person in America. Oh, he gonna get unjust in the justice system. He gonna get listen, he's gonna get treated poorly in the justice system. Yet they took his bond amount from $1 million to $250,000. Oh, what happened to? He's gonna not have justice. To me, he got more than justice. They went up and beyond and lowered his bond amount. But okay, let's get to the stuff that they talking about. So allegedly, Carmelo Anthony's family is now renting a $900,000 house in a gated community because they're claiming that they're getting death threats. Listen, I didn't move my house because people say crazy stuff to me on the internet. Are there credible death threats? Now, moving into a $900,000 house, what does your original house look like? Because if you're in a $10 million house and you move to a $900,000 house, that's not a big deal. If you got a Ferrari, you got a Rolls Royce, you got a Bentley in your front yard, and you bought a $150,000 Escalade, we ain't got nothing to talk about. But if the house you're renting is better and bigger than the house that you actually live in, if you then went and bought a $150,000 Escalade, which is nicer than the cars that you currently own, we got a problem. No, we don't have a problem. You got a problem. Because you essentially are showing the world that people of the melanin literally live in a perpetual grift. And I'm not saying it's everybody. What happened at Black Lives Matter? Patrice Cullors living in a perpetual grift. This is the biggest money laundering scheme that ever happened in American history from a nonprofit related to activism. They had enough influence, enough revenue, enough companies in a headlock to garnish hundreds of millions of dollars. And what did they do with the money? These, I want to say it, but I'm a Christian. These women are buying houses, buying up real estate, flipping houses in white neighborhoods. And now you see Carmelo Anthony's family allegedly buying Escalades and moving into these nice houses in a gated community after their son killed somebody. And he did it, if you ask me, this was malicious. And if the kid was white, he's screaming to hang him. And that he's a racist and it was malicious and he did it on purpose and he hoped every black man die. But when a black kid do it, somehow it's this knee-jerk reaction to say, they wrong about him. I'm going to play these clips in a minute. They're just photos. I went to Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. I've driven by Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. It's named after the famous black poet Paul Laurence Dunbar. In the hood. I've driven by there lately. It don't look as bad as it was when I went there. And I feel like it wasn't as bad as it was before I went there. I mean, it was worse before I went there. So the school has progressively gotten a little better, in my opinion. But even going to a hood school where dudes pull guns on each other in the parking lot, I remember one of my teammates carried a gun to practice every day because he was a gangbanger. And he feared for his life, so he carried his gun to practice every day. Now, as a rational person, not one time did I think it makes sense to take a knife to attract me. The question that I think will be posed to Carmelo Anthony, they're definitely not going to have him testify. I think he's going to do a plea deal. If he knows what's best for him, he needs to plead to manslaughter and do 5-10 years in prison and be done with it. If he go to trial, he's going to get dang near his whole life in prison. The question that is going to come up in the hearing, or they're going to come up in the court proceeding if they go there, is why did you take a knife to the track meet? What was your intentions with the knife being in your bag at the track meet? You don't need a knife to run the 400-meter dash, the last time I checked. When you run the relay, they pass the baton. They don't pass knives to each other. So what do you need a concealed knife in your bag at a track meet for? Why? That is an uphill battle to climb. You're afraid. You're in fear. If you're afraid or in fear, then that means that you shouldn't have went there anyway. Or that means that you took it because you plan to use the thing. I can go down the list and keep getting mad. Give me the other video, or the other photo. Breaking news? A merch site. Oh my God. Is this it right here?
And you know what it is. Tweet a, tapping in. Anybody who with me, my music, you gotta with Carmelo Anthony, man. Justice for my dog. Website coming soon. You gotta tap in, man. Yeah.
So they didn't just let me explain this. I'm not trying to be superfluous. So they just launched a merch site to support Carmelo. I'm giving you guys the most honest take on the internet. If this was my son and I thought he was done wrong and I thought he was innocent, yeah, of course I would do everything they're doing. The problem is what it appeared to have happened is egregious. This is not a kid that's a good kid. Maybe he's a good kid. That's at a track meet, minding his business, and a bunch of white boys jump him, and he stabbed one of them. This is not that scenario. It appears to me, based on the totality of circumstances, that he was in the wrong. That boy took somebody's life. They ain't never gonna get their kid back ever because somebody else's kid took a knife to a track meet and decided that he was gonna sit under somebody's tent, and when asked to leave, he said, "No, I'm gonna kill you if you touch me." That's essentially what he said. I don't, that's like saying, "You touch me and I'm gonna kill you." That's his actions is represented what he said, is touch me and see what happened. He pretty much said, touch me and I'm gonna reach in his bag and stab you in the heart and kill you.
Everybody go check out these two videos on my channel.
If you touch me, I'm gonna kill you.
Also,
But I'm wrong, though.
kick.com.
I'm up under somebody's tent. Let me just add this real quick. Black people,
Kick.com,
the ones who are like
link
this,
in bio.
not the ones who like me and
I'll be
they got a
streaming
common
on there
sense.
more and
I'm
more
talking about the ones
often.
who think this is okay. Do you realize that you are headed down a path of destruction that can never be recovered? I hope that black people understand this. When you are out here making a merch site, doing a GoFundMe for a kid that killed somebody, and won't do a merch site and a GoFundMe for a kid that was killed by somebody, you headed down the wrong mother freaking path. When you go to a Planned Parenthood more than anybody else, when your communities are failing and ratchet as a mother, when the education system in the inner city communities, primarily in black communities, are dismal, when y'all voting at 90% for one candidate and still lost in a landslide victory, historic landslide victory, when your murder rate amongst intraracial conflict is far beyond anybody else's, when the incarceration rate is where it's at, when the obesity rate, heart disease, diabetes, you name it, is running rampant amongst African Americans in this country, when you got all this going against you and you think this okay, if you don't change, you are going to be irrelevant. Show me a post, show me a video of white people doing this. I ain't never seen it. Does it exist? I don't know. I've never seen it. Every time a black person do something they ain't supposed to do, they doing GoFundMes. I can't find a white person that done. Find me a Mexican person that did that. Show me a Mexican kid that killed somebody like this and they GoFundMe for him. Show me a white kid where a white kid killed somebody and they doing a GoFundMe for him. In an egregious way like this was. And some of these knuckle draggers are going to say, Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse? You talking about the kid who was standing to protect the property from people looting and burning it, and then he gets chased down by an adult that's much older than him, that's actually was a pedophile. Chased him down. Tried to take his right. He ran. He fled. He tried to flee for his life. The guy catches up to him. Tried to grab his gun. Took one to the chest or the head. One, I think he got him in the head. Then Kyle ran for help where the police at with his gun in his hand. Some dude tripped him up. He falls. He tried to hit him with a skateboard. He took a shot to the chest. Then, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. Then another guy pulled a gun on him like this, and he shot his bicep off. And you comparing that to him? The ignorance of black folks is crazy to me. And I tell you what, people always say, Brandon, you always talking bad about black people. I think black people have so much potential. Black people are so resourceful when they want to be. Black people dominate entertainment. The funniest comedians are black comedians, in my opinion. The best music artists are black music artists, in my opinion. The best gospel Christian singers are black. They can sing. Nobody can sing better than Marvin Winans. Nobody can sing better than Marvin Sapp's. I could go down the list. What's my girl? I can't think of her name right now. But nobody can sing better than her. But why do we have such talent and abilities and all of it, and we squander it? I just don't get it, man. Our top politicians who represent black people are all the dumbest people in politics. They're the dumbest people. You got like 5 of them that make sense, and they're all Republicans. The Democrats they're terrible. They're dumb. They're even though they're educated, they ain't got no common sense. They shiesty. They grifted. It's very sad. I'm gonna get off my soapbox about black folks, but merch, a new car, $443,000 GoFundMe. They need security. They don't need security, bruh. They don't need security. This is just when black people come up on some money. This reminds me of black people I know that come up on some money and they gotta do this extra stuff. because they got $500,000 or something in their bank account. You know what else they're gonna do? They're gonna sue the police department for violating Carmelo Anthony's civil rights. They're gonna try to sue the police department for some type of offense against Carmelo Anthony because they overcharged him or something. They're gonna try to find a way to sue for some civil rights bullcrap so they can make even more money. Now, I don't know these people. I don't know this to be true. It just seems like with what I'm watching and how things are unfolding, that this is grifty. It's grifty. They see a money train. They see it. All right, let's go on. Who is this Dominic Alexander? Let's look into this real quick. This was on my chart. So shout out to Jordan for doing it. Before we get to Pastor, let's go to this picture. Dominique Alexander is the CEO and founder of Next Generation Action Network. That's that fool I put on the thing. I like what he had to say at first. I was like, okay, man, there's nothing wrong with you standing up for a young brother in the community. It ain't nothing wrong for you making sure people have justice. Then the fool jumped off a cliff talking about Kyle Rittenhouse and white people and black people don't get justice and all this other stuff. Then he jumped off the cliff. Let's look at this real quick. The known for his activism and involvement in social justice cases, including public support of Carmelo Anthony, which is this guy here, Dominique Alexander. According to the research that we've done, he got a criminal history. He got a criminal record. Am I tripping? I think that's what I'm reading. His criminal record includes injury to a child in 2011. Pled guilty to causing injury to his girlfriend's 2-year-old son. Originally received 10 years probation. Probation was revoked in 2016 due to violations. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Theft and forgery charges in 2017, charged with felony theft in Denton County. Charged enhanced due to a past forgery conviction. Pled guilty, served 2 days in jail. Domestic violence allegations. Arrested and indicted for family violence against longtime partner. Partner later recanted, saying he did not hurt or threaten her. Charges were dismissed in 2021. Other legal issues, past convictions include evading arrest and falsifying a police report. They couldn't pick a brother that don't have a criminal record. I know everybody make mistakes, my man, but one of your mistakes is in 2017. Was it 2017? Let me make sure my numbers are right. 2017. The domestic violence accusations was in 2019, which I take it at face value. The woman said he didn't do it. Sometimes they do it, but they feel bad. They don't want to go to jail, and they say, oh, he didn't do it now. Regardless of that, no conviction, it might as well not count. But 2017, felony theft charges, pled guilty to. And this is the person that's going and defending another black man. This is why I don't get it. You couldn't find a black man without a criminal record. You got to find a black man to have an organization where this dude got a criminal history of theft and violence and all kind of stuff. And that's the person that you're going to stand next to your son to represent your son who killed somebody.
I didn't know that guy was an ex-cop, guys. Honestly, I had no idea. The police do wrong, but in this situation, I don't think they did anything wrong. They just arrested a murderer, that's it.
No, you better not.
That's the protester.
Man,
Then we're getting surrounded.
he's brown. He's a brown person. He's not welcome in this country, but...
What the All right, guys, so look, as you can see, we're behind enemy lines right now. In current events, real world time, because the whole world is like just pissed off at Elon. I'm not gonna lie, I know I should have done my research before like really pulling up to something like this, but from my understanding, everyone's just pissed off at Doge and Tesla.
What group are you with? Elon. What does that mean?
He's trying to fuck us all over.
Oh, that's a good one, yes.
Yeah, I know, right? So like a lot of like Brandon got into that.
Where are all the young people going to be mostly affected by all this?
I know, like no one's like looking into this stuff like I am.
I really appreciate that because I walked down a line of like 100 people. Not one person took my information.
Is it me, like the Gen Zers?
Yeah.
Oh, because you know what it is, sir? Everyone that's my age, like they're on TikTok, like they're scrolling, they're on Pornhub. They're doing all this like dumb young stuff.
Right.
And me, like I'm not about it. Like, do you watch porn?
Yes.
All right, okay, yeah, I guess.
Thank God it wasn't around when I was your age, because I would never have graduated from college, not even maybe the 6th grade.
So addicting.
Very addicting. My theory is between social media and pornography, you got all your bases covered, and you don't really aware.
Because like everyone that's my age, that's all that they need. Just, you know, gay porn and just like
disgusting.
TikTok.
It's got more worse on.
So why is he taking pictures of the cars?
So unfortunately, that you don't understand, the cars are in the background. We're not like focusing on the cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, all good. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, ladies, is there anyone my age over here? Wow. You know, us Gen Zers, we don't understand this. Really.
Well, my daughter's Gen Z, and
Is she aware of like Hawk Tuah coin?
aware now.
You educated her?
Yeah.
Real good? Good, good.
I mean, it's so important.
Especially like us in Florida. Everyone likes Elon here. Why do you think, you know, people would argue and say he's like a good thing for like the world?
He is not. They're listening to Fox News.
I know, I just hate Cybertrucks too. It's like a Samsung fridge on wheels.
They're the ugliest things ever, but that black one, I swear, right, Darth Vader, right there. It looks like Darth Vader. Yeah, he's a troublemaker. He's a troublemaker.
No wonder that car is banned in Europe. See all those sharp things that you could just do in?
I know, I kind of just want to like rob myself on it.
Hey, let's just be civil.
Honestly, yeah, right. Let's get a closer look at the car. If it was legal, I would urinate on this. You too? Hey, unlike you, we care about all clean air.
Listen, you want to make money? Come to my side.
What? Sir, you need to talk to this Gen Z, bro. He doesn't know what he's talking. He's like a TikTok something, bro. I don't know what the fuck he is, honestly.
What I'm trying to do is find common ground.
Common ground.
Well, you're disrespecting my Tesla.
Common ground is kind of just like making something right in my own hands.
What are you going to do? Do not touch my car.
Oh, come on.
Are you?
Hey. See this croc?
Please don't do that.
This croc's been through hell.
Please.
I'm going to shove it up your ass if you touch my car again. One more time.
This isn't good. Progress here, buddy.
Listen, this is bigger than us.
Yes, I know.
Can you go over here and talk to me?
This
Okay,
is
honestly,
the
you're
fakest
right.
crap video I've seen, guys. It's so crap that it's making me end the stream. Like and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream today. Once again, subscribe to me on kick.com. That's mostly where we're streaming now. Peace out.